Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Jayson.
And tonight Jayson and I are going to do a ranked list of our favorite and least favorite They Might Be Giants albums. We're not doing this as a tier ranking list. We're going to go old school tonight. We're going to go worst to best. And we decided to do this instead of the ranked list thing. I love doing those. I'm going to get back to those again. I've got lots of ideas for things that I want to do with that.
Yeah.
But we're doing it this way because I don't think Jayson and I could come to a good enough consensus if we're both going to be on this video together.
There are too many things that we disagree on. There are rather like 4 or 5 at this point that we disagree on.
Just even like how much we like them.
Albums, just one of us likes it and one of us doesn't like it.
Yeah, so you'll see a few that are on a completely different place on our list. So we know, I always feel the need to throw in this disclaimer when we talk about Team BG. We know that this is a niche thing, and a lot of our regular audience is not real familiar with this band, or doesn't know about them, or care about them at all. So this is just for the 6 of you that are into They Might Be Giants, or the 25 of you that might be half curious about checking them out. And
please do.
I don't know that based on, I don't know that you're going to want to listen to it, hour and a half, 2 hours of us, because it'll probably take that long, of us talking about, our favorite, least favorite albums to go then check them out. But if you happen to want something in the background, sorry, this microphone is like blocking your face. Where can I put this where it's not? There, that's better. I did a video last night where I had it in a different place. But if you happen to just need something to put on in the background, maybe you'll hear one that piques your interest and you'll go check that out on Spotify or YouTube or wherever. Okay, Jayson, would you break down for everybody what the rules are for what we're counting a studio album with They Might Be Giants? Because there's a little bit of, like discourse discrepancy about what should count and what shouldn't.
So
one of the most prolific rock bands of all time.
Yeah. So we are doing 23 albums, but it is not the 23 that a lot of because for some reason it just worked out that way. On the Wikipedia page, it's like there are 23 main albums, but some of those albums we did not count because A, we don't think it counts, or B, we just don't know them at all. We haven't listened to them, like Escape Team and Murder Remains, we have not listened to. Yeah. So we didn't.
I've heard a couple of tracks from each of those, but I haven't listened to the entire thing.
So that's why instead we have more, Castropod, To the Wind, Miscellaneous T is on there. So it's kind of, I don't really know how to explain the rules, but we just have.
Well, I'll tell you what's here and what's not. I'm actually going to run down the list. Jayson, let's not say anything about any of these albums yet until we actually do the ranking, of course. Right. But in case you really know your Team EG and you're curious as to what we're counting and what we're not, the albums, we are admittedly not super consistent about this. Like Jayson said, some of this is because of records we think should count as studio releases that officially don't, or according to Wiki don't. Again, like he said, like Miscellaneous T, that's always been considered a compilation record and a B-sides record, and it has entirely new songs or new versions of songs, even though a couple of them, it's kind of hard to tell the difference. They're not that different, admittedly. Yeah. But there are some other records that are not considered compilation albums, that are considered real studio albums, that do exactly the same thing Miscellaneous T does.
Yeah.
There's one particularly later that does that. I forget.
They Got Lost.
They Got Lost is one, yeah.
And also, I feel like we should count Miscellaneous T if we're counting the Dial Song stuff. So
yeah, because Miscellaneous T was it actually technically was B-sides, where it was Dial-A-Song stuff, a lot of it. But then later on, there's no distinction made when you get to the several-year period where the Giants were doing a song a week and then compiled those into records. Why aren't all 6 of those considered compilation albums?
Right.
When some other things like Cast Your Pot are considered compilations, it's completely arbitrary and totally nonsense to me.
Yeah.
So we're counting the stuff that we think has enough new material that should be not just a compilation album, and not counting some things like Jayson said that we don't know that well or that really is too much like a compilation thing.
Yeah.
So we're not ranking venue songs.
Right.
Which honestly we should, but we just don't know it that well.
Yeah. And then
so,
we're also not ranking state songs.
Because that's a John Linnell solo project.
And also, if we did that, I would say let's do Monopuff albums and stuff. And
I don't know.
We would get into entirely new territory.
And you know Monopuff, but I don't.
So, I do.
Here's the State Songs album.
Yeah.
We love it. This is a wonderful record.
Yeah.
We listen to it all the time. And if I did rank this, it would be in my top 10 somewhere. Honestly,
I don't think it would.
Honestly, I think it would probably make like 7 or 8 for me.
Really? I think it would be more like 13 or 14 for me.
But anyway, so let me run down the list of things that we are going to count. So, not doing venue songs, not doing They Got Lost, not doing Severe Tire Damage. That's not technically a studio record because it's a live album, even though it does include the studio recording for Dr. Worm.
Yeah, or At Large. We're not.
Oh, I forgot about At Large. Yeah, My Murdered Remains, like you said, The Escape Team. Like you said, here's what we are counting for our ranked list. And this is in the order that they came out. So not to give away yet either of our rankings, and then we'll get into that very quickly. Try not to do too much more preamble. The Pink album, the original.
Big Blue Dog.
The first self-titled They Might Be Giants album. Lincoln, Miscellaneous T, Flood. So technically the first 3 studio albums are They Might Be Giants, Lincoln, and Flood.
Yeah.
And
I
then
actually put
Miscellaneous T
after
actually should have been after Flood, right? Hey, you made this list, okay? So that is on you, sir. You sent me this. That's on you.
Yep, I did that wrong.
Apollo 18, John Henry, Factory Showroom, Long Tall Weekend. How well could you have done this, by the way, off the top of your head?
Pretty well. I would have put Miscellaneous T before Flood.
Mink Car? No. So we are including the kids albums.
Yes.
Beginning with No. The Spine, Here Come the ABCs, The Else, Cast Your Pod to the Wind. Cast Your Pod was included with The Else as a B-sides thing, but we know it really well, and it's got a lot of new material,
really
and
well, yeah.
we would like to rank it, and it's our stream, so deal with it, folks. By the way, thanks a lot for watching. If you're watching live, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching after the fact. If you're doing that as well, if you're wondering why I'm streaming in the middle of a hiatus, I'm taking a hiatus from regular content, but I'm streaming when I have time and when I have ideas that I really feel like doing, and we're waiting for my wife to deliver, and that hasn't happened yet, so we've got more free time right now than we probably will a little bit later on. So that's why you got 2 streams in a row from me the last couple days. Anyway, so The Spine, ABCs, Else, Cast Your Pod to the Wind. Here come the 1, 2, 3s. Here comes Science. Those were back-to-back. Crazy there's nothing in between. Join Us, Nanobots, Glean, Why, Phone Power, I Like Fun, and the recently released just 2 years ago, Book! And I say it like that because it's in all caps.
Book!
Read a book!
Book!
Hello, Thomas Lowe. Hello, AMC. He's calling me Flip-Flop-Volution. That's not fair. What, I have not flip-flopped. I'm on hiatus from regular content. I'm not doing my... So usually we'd have a Captain Logan show on a Thursday. Instead, at 10:15... at night, we're doing this for, at the moment, literally 2 people, because nobody cares about Team EG except for us, and not a ton of people on with our channel. But you know what? Maybe if we do a little bit more Team EG every now and again, we can gain some traction with it. With maybe we can get we'll proselytize like it's religion. Maybe we can get 5 new people into the church that They Might Be Giants.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Are you ready to go back and forth, Jayson?
Yeah.
And get into our ranked list?
Yes.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. We're going to start from worst to best. We're going to let Jayson
number 23
begin, and I think I know what's going to be at the bottom of your list.
Okay, what do you think is at the bottom of my list?
I think it's going to be Book.
Okay, it is not.
Wow, he's got something even lower than Book.
I'll
just say right away, neither of us is a big fan of the new album.
No. My number 23 is Here Comes Science.
Here Comes Science.
I And I was talking to Dad earlier about this. There is not a song that I unironically actually enjoy listening to that A, was not written by the two Johns. Well, actually, no, there is not a single song that I unironically enjoy that was written by the two Johns. Because nothing was that's actually good was written by the
So
two
the
Johns.
songs you really like, right, are written by somebody else, or like for that album,
Yeah.
or was a cover
Yeah.
of something written prior to that album.
Yeah, and also recorded prior to that album. So it doesn't even
Yeah, that's
technically
true.
count anyway.
Yeah, like Where Does the Sun Shine? And Science has a decent version of that song.
Yeah.
And then you have Shooting Star,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't think they wrote.
No, they did not.
And then
that was actually taken off of. That was actually a cover of the same guy that did Why Does the Sun.
Tom, whatever his name is, Glazier.
Glazier.
Right?
I don't know how the heck you remembered that.
1955, 56.
Yeah.
On a kid's record. I've always, for my TMG collection, I've always wanted to try to get my hands on that record.
Yeah.
I wonder what that cost. Have you ever looked into it?
I haven't actually.
I wonder if that's a highly sought after record. If we could get our hands on it.
If it's
We'll try not
even,
to
if it
take
even
too long
exists.
with these things, but with each of these. But what is your favorite song on Science? Unironically, regardless of
Yeah.
cover or not.
It's Paleontologist.
Paleontologist. I think that's the best song on
It is.
the album. Now, I like a couple of things probably more than you do. I like Electric Car, okay. I don't mind Bloodmobile, but that also was recorded prior.
I don't like that
to,
song,
to Science.
so-
I knew that song 5-6 years before Here Comes
And
Science.
the Why Does the Sun Really Shine is okay.
The sun is a miasma of incandescent plasma.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I'm a little bit more partial to that song because I got to hear it live in concert before it came out, and that was kind of a treat. That was pretty cool. I also had that with "Be the Bird of the Moth," but that's a
An
brilliant
actual
song.
good song.
That's a really good song.
I didn't actually like that song first few times I listened to it.
Took you a while?
It took me a while.
But anyway, so what is the worst song on Here Comes Science? Is it Science is Real?
It's either
Which the
Science...
Giants love. They have like
Well,
19
they have
different t-shirt
19 different
designs
t-shirts designed.
for that.
It's either Science is Real or Roy G. Biv.
Ugh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that either. They're channeling the worst stuff from 1-2-3s, which
Yeah.
was also massively inferior to ABCs.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
We do. I will go on record to say I like the Giants as a kids band,
I do too.
but they get progressively worse.
yeah, they do.
Not to give away too much of my list, I guess, but
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm with you on that. Also, computer graphic design or whatever that song is.
Computer assisted design.
There it is. Your mom hates that with a burning passion.
Really?
Yeah, because it's out. It was outdated the moment it came out. It was about CAD, which is my wife is an architect, and like architects aren't even using that program when that comes out. She's
That's
like, "What is
funny.
happening?" Yeah, it's not great. Periodic Table Element song is whatever. It's not great.
It's such a nothing album. Like
Yeah.
it's not even. It's forgettable. Like
Yeah, it's not great as an educational thing or as just a fun escapist. Anyway, let's
Yeah, what
move
is your
on.
number
Let's
23?
not. Let's try not to take so long with these. My 23 is Indeed book,
really.
and yeah, and
you disliked this more than other things.
yes, right now, and maybe it will grow on me more. But here's the thing: I've never had this with the Team BG record, and that's why I feel the need to put it all the way at the bottom. I actually have it. I just bought it today on sale, and I've decided I've got it upside down. I couldn't tell where the broken record was supposed to go. I have decided with this, since I got it on sale, that I guess I am doing a completionist collection now
Yeah.
of They Might Be Giants on vinyl, because I own this and I won't give it away yet, but another record that I don't think is great. And
Yeah.
everything else I bought so far, we did vinyl for a lot of our Christmas presents this year. We did vinyl, and I got us caught up on a bunch of TMBG because they were having a sale on their website, and I was just getting all the stuff that I really wanted that we listened to all the time. But then I remembered I had another one that I don't love that much, and I found this for super cheap, so I was like, okay, fine, I guess I'm buying this. So maybe some of the other albums I don't love that much, I'm going to end up getting. I had something with this that I've never had with They Might Be Giants, which is, it took me 2 years to listen to the entire album. How do I not put that at the bottom? I couldn't even get through it. I couldn't even listen to the entire thing. I got halfway through, and I went, I need a break. I can't even deal with this. And I didn't like it, and I didn't think it was melodic enough, and I thought that Flanzy had just gone out of his mind with self-indulgent nonsense.
Super cool!
And, like, again... I'm sure I'm being too hard on it. Maybe I'll appreciate it more as I listen to it. A lot of Giant stuff through my entire history with this band has been stuff that I had to kind of grow into, where it grows on you like a fungus. And even some of their best albums, I've talked to lots of people that have had that with. I even know people that had that with Flood, where it's like they didn't even like it the first time they heard it. It just took them a while to really get into it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just Team EG, you know. It's sort of like, for me, James Gunn movies. You know, I gotta watch them 4 times. I had this with The Spine, where I was super disappointed with The Spine the first time I heard it. A year later, I was exclusively listening to that album like daily.
Really?
Yeah, and so I don't see that happening.
I had that hugely with Mink Car.
But maybe I'll come. Yeah, I've got a tumultuous history also with Mink Car, but. Anyway, Book, I'm having a tough time getting into. Jason and I finally listened to the entire thing recently, and I had my head in my hands more and more as we went through it, and it has the same thing that I'm giving away too much, I guess, with some of this, but there's another album, I guess I won't spoil what yet, that I've had this with, where the further it goes, the more it loses me, and I feel like I'm more critical of later Team EG, or at least it's just not gelling with me. Maybe that's the more fair way to say it, than a lot of fans, because I think Book won a Grammy. I don't understand that. Like, and a lot of fans are eating it up with a spoon, just like some other more recent albums that I was not the biggest fan of, and so it seems like they've just lost me a little bit. It's just not for me anymore. Sometimes it feels like. Songs that I like, okay. The opening song is a good first track, Synopsis for Latecomers. That's also kind of a lot of fun. I haven't heard it in concert live yet, but I mean, I've seen it with streams they've done, and they'll play it, you know, first in a set. And that's kind of funny, because, like, you know, then we got there late. It's your first song. That's kind of funny. And I admittedly, I've only listened through this whole thing like through all the way one time, so I don't know these tracks that well. I just know I didn't like most of them. I Broke My Own Rule, I remember liking okay. No?
Well, it's okay.
You've got the problem, right?
Yeah, and I'll get into that when I actually...
Okay, he's got a whole thing about that. If Day for Winnipeg, I found embarrassing.
If it's for everyone.
Stop it. I don't know. I can't deal with it.
Okay, when your album has stuff like If Day for Winnipeg.
For Women Peg?
I Lost Thursday and Super Cool. Then you
Super Cool.
You shouldn't release it.
Okay, that song is kind of funny though. But again, it's like, okay, here's the problem with the band, and I know this is an overused word to describe this band, but this is a problem with a band as quirky and quote-unquote weird as They Might Be Giants. When are you enjoying the weirdness they're doing on purpose, and when are you enjoying it ironically? Like you said about 1, 2, 3 is...
Science.
Or, I'm sorry, Science.
I'm not enjoying it.
It's sort of like what I had with some of Gotham, where it's like, I don't know when it's being stupid on purpose.
I think Flanzy is just messing with us at this point.
That's so funny. Done on Ranger Power, my introduction to They Might Be Giants was their cover of Istanbul. A lot of people have that. He actually remembered who did Istanbul first, a group called the Four Lads, which is not talked about very often. So appreciate your bringing that up. AMC says a wild short-haired Jayson appears. Jason's hair looks boss right now.
Okay, it's not short.
Very stylish.
It's not short. Like
no, it's not. But it looks it because of the way you've got it laid back. But it's not as long as mine.
Oh no.
because I've grown mine all the way
But it's
up,
not short.
Okay. Anyway, so that's my thing about book. Oh, I should also say about book that I am aware that there is like a 125-page book that is supposed to go with book.
Yeah.
And maybe I would appreciate the record more if I read it with it. I don't know how they correlate.
Yeah.
That is entirely possible, but I've not done that. And from the giant's own mouth, you're not supposed to have to.
Yeah, but...
I seem to recall them saying.
Really?
And it's like, well, if I don't think it's going to make me like it any more musically. Maybe I'll appreciate it more lyrically and thematically and what some of the songs are about, because right now it's over my head because I'm not invested. I don't care. So I guess it's possible that on some level I could appreciate it more, but I don't think I'm going to, like, musically. And if you listen to an album and it's not grabbing you, do you really want to have to spend $50 for a book that might make you like it more?
Yeah.
I don't know. But then the collector in me is like, okay, but I'm buying Giants records now. Maybe I want book at some point. Maybe I want the book for book, especially since I barely had to pay for the album.
Right.
So.
Maybe.
All right. Let's get a roll on. What is your number 22?
My number 22.
Do you think that's fair that I put it all the way at the bottom?
Yeah,
it's how I feel about it now, but I do feel like it could move up.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, like, just a smidge.
By 1 or 2. It ain't gonna go to 14 or anything.
No.
Like, that's not gonna happen.
My number 22 is Nanobots. I despise Nanobots.
Roll the Nanobots up!
Cannot listen to Nanobots. I would rather listen to some of...
So you don't want
I would rather
to
listen
want to
to...
give stuff away either.
I would rather listen to If Day for Winnipeg than Nanobots.
Really?
You know?
Than any track on Nanobots?
There are songs on Nanobots that I like.
Okay, top 3.
I can't even do a top 3. There are 2 songs
Favorite
that I like.
song on Nanobots?
Lost My Mind.
Lost My
And
Mind.
then You're on Fire is the second best, and then I don't know, freaking Black Ops. I don't
like Black Ops. I don't mind Nanobots, the song.
I don't.
Oh, you don't like that?
No.
Okay, I think it's fine.
I don't like Circular
Karate Chop is
Karate
just
Chop.
whatever, but
That's everyone's like favorite song off that album. I don't care. And then freaking Call You Mom.
yeah.
I can't deal with
I
it.
feel like Flansy's got this connection with people that I'm not understanding. And I love John Flansburgh, don't get me wrong, but I connect with his early stuff in a way I'm in middle stuff in a way I'm not his more recent stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I understand that.
I need Flansy in his late 30s, early 40s, not at the age of 58.
At the age of 58.
I don't want to hear about your parkour.
Yeah, I didn't like this album, and especially like the back half of it. Just it doesn't even fall off. It wasn't good in the first place. Like, I mean, there are so many other TMBG albums where I feel like it has actually a really good like 6 tracks, like first 6 tracks,
and they tend to be toward the beginning.
Yeah.
On those records.
And then halfway through, it just falls off, and
Yep.
it's not good anymore, and you're just dreading having to listen to the album.
That's going to be a constant theme with some of my bottom ones.
Yeah.
But that's why I put Book all the way at the bottom, because Book doesn't get going for me.
Yeah, and that's
ever.
and that's what I have for Nanobots.
Okay, that's interesting, because I have more of the it's okay at the start but falls off thing with Nanobots, except there's also a few tracks toward the beginning that I'm like, okay, I kind of want to skip this, right? Like, I don't like Tesla. I don't know. I don't understand that song.
Yeah.
If we get any like diehard TMG fans watching this, they'll probably either skip way ahead to the later stuff or drop us real quick, because I feel like a lot of diehard TMG fans are liking their later stuff just as much as we were liking, Spine, Else, etc. And I don't know, it's sort of like Star Trek, right? Where you have some of those fans that start with it and stay on and hold on for dear life, or just really do legitimately love it all the way through, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the diehard like TOS fans that don't care about TNG, like TNG and beyond, with They Might Be Giants. and all I do is reference Star Trek. With They Might Be Giants, there's people that like love them before they become a full band, and there's people that love the like '90s sound.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, and then there's people that just like everything.
That like it all the way up. Yeah. And for me, it's almost, this isn't fair because they're still the Johns and they still put out some good work here and there. I'm just not caring for a lot of their more recent stuff. But this is not fair. It's a little bit, way for me like Star Trek and New Trek, where it's like I like them all the way up for the most part until like right after Else.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that because now you're going to be able to kind of tell my ranking pretty well. But anyway, what else did you want to say about Nanobots?
Nothing, because I have nothing to say about Nanobots.
You don't want to talk about Hive Mind?
No, I don't.
The 6-second spine-like track. Hive Mind. Hive.
Yeah, they tried to do a whole like fingertips kind of thing with it, and it didn't work because none of it was good.
Well, they didn't put them, in a row. I will say I have an odd sort of pseudo nostalgia for that album because it came out while I was working on Spawn Year.
Yeah.
And I listened to it quite a bit during that. But I'll tell you, I used to like it more than I do now.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about an album that is flipped now from where it would have been a couple of years ago. My 22 is Here Comes Science.
Yeah.
Which we already talked about. So
Yeah.
for all the reasons we discussed already. What is your 21?
It is Book.
Book, okay. So you got two under Book.
Yeah, I do. So I'm just gonna say this point real quick.
Absolutely.
Because this is the big thing that I hate about Book. Book is, I feel like Flanzy is just going all over the place and is doing just what I have no idea what Flanzy is even doing at this point, and I at this point I just will skip Flancy songs on newer albums because they're just, I don't know, they're just blah and not even silly anymore.
And I feel like later Flanzy has rubbed off too much on the way Linnell is writing.
Yeah, and
because he's always had more of a like composer's ear, right?
Yeah.
Like he's more of the songwriter of the two.
Yeah.
And Flanzy is a little bit more experimental, which was great earlier on, but I just feel like something's missing now.
And Linnell just can't think of anything else to do. So all of his songs just go like this. Da 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 da. Every single track. Like actually
It was 4 in a row on Book.
was
That's what you said,
4
right?
in a row. And it's that's why like
Jason's review is it's ugh.
I broke my rule, I broke my own like. And then Brontosaurus. It's
He got stuck on that on Join Us and he can't get away from it now.
Can't get away from it. And I mean, the thing is,
it's fine every now and again. It's just you know what? To be fair, it's kind of that John Henry problem. Except I like, the problem is I like the rhythmic progression of the thing I'm about to bring up with John Henry more than I like that. So when it keeps coming back, it's not as big of a deal to me.
Yeah.
But John Henry is dun 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 dun. It's the spy thing, and John Henry does it in like 3 songs, and then they keep bringing that back in some other things later.
Yeah.
But that's that staccato thing that you're talking about. I just don't like it as well, and it's much more overused than the spy thing.
And I mean, I will say there are songs that use it pretty well, like Erase, which I mean I will get to 2015 Dial.
And that's a song you're obsessed with.
That is a song that I like a lot. It does do that. That da 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 da.
But you think it's more effective?
I think it is. It was also one of the first TMBG songs that I remember listening to. So.
Yeah, I mean, I
grew up with
I didn't mind that the first time. We just kept doing it.
Just kept doing it.
Like there's other kinds of syncopation,
It
folks.
got old. I don't know. Okay, what's your number 21?
My number 21 is Nanobots.
Okay.
Yep. We talked about that. Let's move on.
All right.
Time for
20?
Jason's number 20.
I will have nothing to say about this. I will have literally nothing to say.
We
about
might
this.
have the same one.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead.
my number 20 is Phone Power.
Oh, okay. Not mine.
Okay.
Uh,
Phone Power?
Yeah.
So it's the last 2015 Dial song. album, right?
Yes.
And I
Can you
think...
actually, real quick? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Can you just explain to folks that are not as into in the know,
Yes,
what we mean when we say dial-a-song and what the 2015-2018 projects were?
Okay, so how should I start this? Okay, so
what is dial-a-song?
So dial-a-song was a thing that the They Might Be Giants did in the 80s and the 90s, where you would call a phone number and it would have an answering machine, and trying not to make 13 references, and it
says call machine and you got the phone number,
and it would play a song for you. And so in 2015 they decided to do kind of kind of evolution of it, where they would make a track every week, and they actually have a new phone number that you can call. Yeah, and
we've been calling it. It's fun.
It's fun.
And you can get in every time because it's not one answering machine.
Right. And so what they would do is...
Because back in the day, you would be the only person that was listening to it.
Yeah. After the dial-a-song tracks were made, they put them onto albums, and that's how you get, your still albums.
And they got 6 different albums out of it.
So they got 3 out of the 2015 one, and then they got 3 out of the 2018 one because they did it again later.
Yes.
So
varying degrees of success. And I think one of those records is excellent, and you'd never know it was a dial-a-song thing.
Yeah.
And I think another of those records, it's difficult to tell was a dial-a-song thing because it has a more cohesive sound, but happens to not be a great record.
Yeah. So
I'm being cryptic. We'll get to what those are later.
Yeah. So, Phone Power
is the second of the 2015.
Third of the 2015 ones.
No, it's the second one.
Yes.
Or did Y come out before it?
Y came out before it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Y is billed as a children's album.
Yeah, it is.
Which is odd. Let's just talk about these together because Y is my number 20.
Okay, well, Y is my number 19.
So. Okay, so we'll just talk about these together right now.
Let's talk about Y and Phone Power together because I think we both have Glean a little higher.
So the problem with it, clearly, because we don't have them right, neither of us has it right here. The problem with these is there are several of those dial-a-song tracks that are really great, going kind of back to the roots of what makes Team EG awesome to me, or even some that feel like a new evolution of their sound that I wish they could build a whole album around, right? Yeah. And you mentioned Erased, that's like that. Yeah. Music Jail is like that. That's an excellent song.
Yep. I Can Help the Next in Line.
Next in Line is great.
Answer, Glean,
is awesome. Yeah, and then and then what's the one that's now you're just saying the word dog.
That is Answering Machine.
Answering Machine, which is
on Phone Power.
Oh, is it on Phone Power? Well, okay, but my so my point is
it's on
Y, which is weird. So my point is, one of these records, which I guess I'll just say because we talked about it because we mentioned it, Glean uses mostly some of the really good tracks from that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then a lot of the lesser tracks wound up on both Y and Phone Power.
So here's what I'll say real quick. Glean got all the good songs. Y got mostly kind of some good songs, but mostly meh songs. And then Phone Power got all the rest. So that's kind of the problem with Phone Power, is it just doesn't even hold together as an album, because it's just the rest of the lot that they had.
Yeah. And Phone Power is weird because it sounds more like a compilation record than Glean. It sounds more thoughtlessly put together.
Yeah.
And I don't even think Glean has all that cohesive of a sound, but it's a little bit more potpourri, but in the way Miscellaneous T was.
Yeah.
And so it really works.
Yeah, I think it actually does work.
And also in the way that Gastropod of the Wind was.
Yeah. And I think it has as much of a cohesive sound as, well, no. I say it has more of a cohesive sound than Factory Showroom, but...
And what I think I agree with that, actually. My problem with Y is that it cheats. It's not a kid's album.
Yeah. It's not.
It's got a few songs that sound like they were written for kids, like books. Read books. Yes, books. I wish books was on book.
Yeah.
Or read books, or whatever the heck that song is called. But a lot of the songs on that album, like you said, are the more mediocre of the Dial-A-Song songs. And then some of the songs that they picked for Dial-A-Song were weird, like things that were part of other projects.
Yeah.
There's that one that was a cover of like of a pop song. I can't remember what that. I liked it a lot.
Oh,
But,
Bills.
Yeah, but it just feels kind of weird to be on a record.
Yeah,
if it's supposed to be a quote unquote real record, that's the problem. Is just, and it's arbitrary, but like how you define terms. Phone Power works better if it's considered a compilation or B-sides thing.
Yeah.
But I still wouldn't rank it that high.
Right. No, I agree. Okay. So was Y your number 20? And then
Wherever we're at here, I think Y was my next one. Y is my number 20. Yeah.
And then what was your
what's your
19?
What's your 19?
Y.
My 19 is Phone Power. So we were all in and out with that. Yeah.
So yeah, I like Y better than Phone Power.
Phone Power has a couple of my favorite songs from the Dial-A-Songs, which is the only reason I put it above Y.
Yeah.
And again, I had to dock Y a point for pretending to be a kids album.
Right.
I just don't like that.
I actually had them flipped at one point, but they're just so they don't even, I don't know, they just don't even feel like cohesive albums.
Yeah.
To me.
Okay. Let's keep going here.
My number 18, I guess.
Yeah. I'm waiting for. We haven't had any full-on lineup yet. Where we get the same one on the same number.
No, we haven't.
But go ahead. What's your 18?
My number 18 is Join Us.
Okay.
Join Us is an album that falls off halfway through.
Yes. And it's got a real strong start.
I actually like listening to Join Us, and I like a lot, like I really like a couple songs from Join Us.
Top 3 from Join Us.
Number 3, Can't Keep Johnny Down. Number 2, you probably get that a lot. And number 1, When Will You Die?
Jason loves When Will You Die.
I love When Will You Die.
Which kind of makes me surprised that this album is as low as it is for you.
I don't like listening to it. It's not fun.
You just said you do like listening to it.
No, I like listening to the first few tracks.
I see what you're saying, but as a whole album,
I don't.
Where does it fall off?
It falls
right
off
after When Will You Die, or is it after? Like, because Protagonist is a good song too. That's that like call and answer thing.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Thinking of something else, but yeah.
But I think after Protagonist, but also there are a few.
I like Never Knew Love a lot though.
Yeah, the problem with
Never
Join
Knew
Us,
Love could be like this.
Is that on Join Us?
Yeah.
Oh,
you see it? It's
yeah,
right there on
I
the
see
track
it right
list.
there.
Yep.
Okay, here's the problem. Join Us, every other track. I mean, not actually, but like every other track is good, and then every other track sucks. So like you can't even say.
What are some of the worst songs on this album?
I don't like Cloyson A.
I don't like Cloyson A. I don't like and people love that song.
And I like,
apologies. I don't like it.
Old Pine Box is not bad.
I love Old Pine Box.
Yeah.
That's the thing is I think the first half is pretty good overall.
Yeah.
Celebration is an odd song. I'm not sure why Flansley wrote that. It sounds like a weird throwback to 80s pop that doesn't really work.
Let Your Hair Hang Down is fine.
I like that song okay.
It's okay, yeah. And
Can I Jojuri or whatever it is, however you say that, that's a great song.
Is it?
I can't say it, but I like that song a lot, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not...
maybe Spoiler Alert is the call and answers. That's a great song.
Yeah. I like a lot of songs off of it.
We clearly don't know these as well.
No.
But...
I just... would rather listen to any other TMVG album that I haven't said already.
Right.
More than this. So I just...
I have to say, it has grown on me.
Yeah.
In a way that Nanobots... Like, it's the reverse of Nanobots. Where I had a better listen to that. I had, like, the Man of Steel thing.
Yeah.
With Nanobots, where I liked it fine, and then every time I've heard it after that, it's fallen down.
Mm-hmm.
And Join Us... that first half solidified like Spine did, and then the rest of it is whatever. Like, 3 might be Duende. I don't know what we're doing with that. 2082 is lame.
It's not good.
You Don't Like Me is fine.
And the thing is, Join Us.
But You Don't Like Me is a terrible last track, though. It sounds,
Yeah.
It's like, resolve the chord. Like,
Join Us doesn't have a lot of terrible songs. It just doesn't have.
and it's too mellow.
It has too many blah songs.
It never picks up, really.
It doesn't have a lot of songs that I just am like, oh, I want to listen to that, right? I want to listen to Dog Walker.
But it has more
It
good
has.
individual tracks that I
Yeah.
would put on by themselves than Nanobots does.
Nanobots has, again, 2 tracks that I would put on.
But that's something like Can't Keep Johnny Down, get that a lot, Old Pine. But like the first 3 tracks I would play on their own.
Yeah. And When Will
Certainly.
You Die is one of the best songs.
And let me amend what I said a minute ago. If the Giants wanted to do an intentional kind of mellow record that had, a cool song, like, kind of like, I don't know if anybody else will understand this reference, kind of like Waterdeep or something, like, they could do that.
Yeah.
But that's not really what this is. It feels like it just needs some more upbeat tracks. Like, where is this album's Man It's So Loud in here? It kind of needs that.
Yeah, it kind of does. What is your number 18?
My 18...
And I
is-
will say, my number 17 and 18 are kind of tied.
Sure. My 18 is Here Come the 1, 2, 3s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm feeling a little bit weird about the placement of that. Looking at what's above it, but I'm gonna...
Which I kind of have with Join Us right now because I forgot what was on Join Us, and I just don't.
Okay. But also, it's fair to rank them based more on the album's sound than just the songs in it that you like, right? Like,
Right.
You got to think about it like it does it hold together as a piece.
Right.
And that's my thing with 1, 2, 3 is it's a huge step down, or like 9 steps down. And I say 9 because both the 9 songs suck. It's a huge step down for me from ABC's, which I'm not gonna say is a perfect kids album, but it's quite good overall.
Yeah.
And it's got some classics now, and it's crazy to think that that album is like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But or is it? Yeah, it came out in 05. Goodness. So like 18 years old. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024. This next year. 1, 2, 3 has exactly the same thing that Join Us does, actually, except more so,
Yeah.
where it has an excellent first like 8 songs.
Yeah. It does.
Like Zeros is fun.
Yeah.
It's 7 is one of my favorite Giants kid songs of all time. I would like some cake.
Number
Me
2.
too. It's the number 2. That's hilarious. Okay, I don't love Secret Life of 6, but like it's not horrible. High Five is kind of fun.
High Five is kind of fun.
I live up in apartment 4. Like that's a
Triumphs
wonderful
Has
song.
3 Eyes is good.
Triumphs
Triumphs
Has 3
Has
Eyes
3
is a
Eyes
classic.
is-
Vince loves that song. Like
Really?
loves that song.
Really?
Yes.
Triumphs Has 3 Eyes.
When we were in college, he drew a Triops on his binder
That's great.
while we were sitting in class.
Um,
He's not even a big Giants fan.
Triumphs Has 3 Eyes has that sort of like ABC's feel to it, where
Yes.
like
Well, and that's the thing is, one of the reasons I was so disappointed with that album is because I thought we were in for more of the same in a good way,
yeah.
and then it just
then it
flies
just-
off the handle somewhere.
Yeah.
Pirate Girls 9 is like 9 bowls of soup. But that's the lamest conclusion.
And 813 Mile Car Trip is lame. And
It sure. Nonagon's okay.
Nonagon's
Ooh la la. It's like, what are we doing? Yeah. Oh, all right.
And then Heart of Pan.
So yeah, it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
But it's got a few great tracks toward the beginning.
Yeah, it does.
And I think as far as, because that was, I think you have to talk a little bit about the video side of it, because it was kind of released as as like a series of videos.
Yeah.
Or like I guess I should say a video with like segments that are all animated music videos, and I think the videos for 1-2-3s are on par with ABC's because it's the same animation style, it's the same guy doing those, and so like he does the best he can with what he's got to work with there.
Yeah, that's true.
But like there is nothing besides 7 that gets close to the brilliance of Alphabet of Nations.
Yeah.
Or Can You Find It, which is one of the prettiest melodies John Linnell ever wrote. And sounds like he should have used it on state songs, but hadn't come up with it yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. Hayden Spring, I recently discovered the woman who voices Violet in The Incredibles is in a Team Jet documentary. Yes, she is.
Really?
And it might be her only other credit. No, I think she's done some other stuff, some other maybe voice workers. I'm not sure, and I forget her name right now. Is that Sarah Vowell?
Is it?
Is that Sarah Vowell?
Oh, is that
or
who
is
that is?
No, that's not Sarah Vowell. What is her name? I can't remember. That's not who that is. It's somebody else. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, because I didn't think that's who that was.
But yeah, it's the girl that's talking about the brilliance of the lyrics in Don't Let Start. If you remember that section.
Oh, I do remember that section.
Of Gigantic.
Yeah.
That's who we're talking about.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, so what number are we
number
on
17.
here?
My number 17.
1-2-3s?
No, it's actually I Like Fun.
Okay. You
and
have
so
that.
Do you.
And so do you. Brrr. You have it a little higher.
Than you,
do.
Yeah.
Hayden Spring says, it is Sarah Vowell. Ooh, I nailed it.
Oh.
It is Sarah Vowell. Who has the coolest last name.
Yeah. Wait, hey,
I second guessed
did you
myself.
already say I Like Fun then?
No, I have not said I Like Fun.
Oh, you said you have it a little higher than me.
I have it higher than you.
That's weird, because I thought I would have that higher than you.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, remember, I'm looking at these as albums.
Right. Me too.
As much as possible. Sure, and we're gonna vary a little bit.
I Like Fun.
We're not gonna vary by that much, I don't think, with this stuff anyway.
Has so many songs I actually really like on it. But the problem is, and this is just like Join Us, the problem is it does not hold together at all. At some point, I just turn it off.
But I do think it has a more cohesive sound.
Yeah.
Than any of the other, even though it's not as good as Gleam.
Yeah.
Than any of the other Dial-A-Song records. To the point where
Yeah.
I didn't know it was a Dial-A-Song record until today doing research for this.
Yeah.
That counts for something, and I think that's part of why it's a little higher for me.
I will say, I think I turn it off after this microphone. I think that's when.
And Last Wave is a fine ending track, but there's nothing good in between.
No, Lake Monster sucks. McCafferty's Bib sucks.
Probably between Brightside and The Last Wave, so there's 5 tracks that aren't any good. Or 4 tracks.
That aren't any good right next to each other. The problem is, I don't like, and then so to the fact checkers, I don't like I Like Fun.
No, I Like Fun is terrible, and is made worse by the fact that it's the title track.
Yeah.
And what Jason and I are finding... What Jason and I are finding with a lot of Team EG tracks that we don't like, and let me tell you, up to a certain point...
Your operation?
Because let me tell you about my operation! Flanzy, I don't want to hear anymore about your operation. No, you could not tell me about your operation. Anyway, God, stop telling me about your operation. What we're finding... Okay, so what I was going to say is, I grew up with Team BG starting in junior high, and up until I want to say really Join Us, there was not a record I just flat out didn't like and wouldn't listen to. Mm-hmm. Now, there were a couple, like we said earlier, that got close, where I wasn't with them initially and then they grew on me.
Yeah.
But it's not until the last 10 years, really.
Yeah. And then I Like Fun just come out.
And what we're finding is a lot of the songs that we don't really care for, the big compliment we can give them is, but the horn work is good.
That's the only compliment. Yeah.
And it's not like every They Might Be Giants song has horn work. So what is it with... It's like they're falling back on it.
Yeah.
It's almost like Flanzy knows the melody's not very good. And so he really ramps up the production. And that's what it feels like to me. I know if anybody that really likes this band is listening to this, they probably will not agree with a lot of what I'm saying about the newer stuff.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel about it. Anyway,
Just watch like the last half of this video. I mean,
top 3 songs on I Like Fun.
on I Like Fun, best song on this is Mrs. Bluebeard.
Oh.
Ding.
I don't even remember what that sounds like right off when you say that. Well, you keep just doing a ding. I don't remember what that sounds like.
Ding. That's the only part I can remember right now.
But you love
it's that song that has the ding in it.
Okay. I have to go back and play that.
I do like that song. And then probably
it's All Time What, right?
Is the second one.
Oh,
and then
All Time What's
no.
is definitely the best song.
Yeah, All Time What is probably
anyway.
my second, and then
Push Back the Hands.
Push Back the Hands probably. I also really like I Left My Body.
It's great.
And By the Time You Get This, but I just don't know where they all.
I like By the Time You Get This quite a bit. Yep.
Yeah. And you don't like I Left My Body as much as me, but
I don't know. I like the song okay. It's definitely in the top 5.
anyway, what is your number? What?
Okay, well now we're getting into redundancy, so we'll be able to move a little bit quicker. My 17 is that where we're at?
Yeah.
My 17 is Join Us.
Okay.
And my 16 is I Like Fun.
Okay. My 16 is 1, 2, 3's.
Okay, which we've talked about. Do you want to add anything?
No, I don't actually. You said everything I wanted to say about it.
Okay.
My
Now
number 15.
it's gonna get interesting.
Yeah, I think it will too.
I think it's gonna
My number
it's gonna
15.
get real mixed up,
Let's-
and I think it's possible that his 15 or 14 or 13 is an album that will be in my top 10 or top 5.
Yeah,
I think that's absolutely plausible. So I'm excited.
And it might be the same for you too. For me, you know.
Trevor Gano. Hi there. That's a name I don't right away recognize. I think it's fair to say that the pacing of Team BG albums is often not the best, which is strange since they're such an intelligent band. And I agree with that with, like, past a certain point.
Yeah.
I don't think pacing is a problem, at least for me personally, with any of the Two Johns era before they're a full band.
Oh yeah. Flood,
And-
Apollo 18, John Henry, Factory Showroom. There's not. A
Well,
problem.
and remember, they become full band
Right,
by John
by
Henry,
John Henry,
but
yeah.
John Henry doesn't have pacing. Factory Showroom does have pacing issues. That's where that starts
true.
to really rear its head. Mink Car
Mink Car does not.
absolutely has pacing issues. Massive
Really?
pacing issues. Yeah,
Okay.
that album is all over the place.
Okay. Okay. I will say, I agree with you because if you have.
I'm gonna go this far. I can take Factory Showroom and Mink Car and take half of one album, half of the other, rearrange it, and make a way better paced album than either of those
Mink
albums.
Car, I will actually agree with you because I did not remember about this, but Mink Car has the weirdest order because what they will do is they will make you like fall asleep, right? With like, like in a good way, right? With these good songs, right? Drink, yeah, I guess yeah, but like drink.
I'll take back my
And
pinata.
Mink Car. And then it just throws Wicked Little Critter at you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why? Like, put that in the top, like, in the first, like, 5 tracks. I don't know.
But Trevor, that's an excellent point. Thanks for mentioning that. And Jason and I have talked about this privately a lot, but the Giants also have, in our opinion, I don't want to speak for you, but I think you agree with this, a not great track record for first tracks.
Okay, well, I don't agree with that.
Oh, you don't agree with
but
that? Okay. A lot of first tracks that I think
I
are
like way too many first
lamer
tracks
than most of the rest of the album.
anyone else does.
Okay, so you don't have that. Maybe that's more of a conversation I've had with your mom then. Because I
Yeah.
thought that was a thing that you and I came to together. But
No, I think
maybe not.
because you and Mom don't like a lot of first tracks, but I do. Like,
Yeah.
I like bangs.
And you love experimental film.
I like
She doesn't like that.
film, right.
She doesn't like I'm impressed.
She
You
doesn't
like
it.
I'm impressed.
I like I'm impressed. But I mean, you like it. I'm impressed too. But
Yeah.
I think.
But she does like Dig My Grave. I
Yep.
think.
Yep.
And she does like
Theme from Flood.
Well, who doesn't love the theme from Flood? I mean, it's a brand new album for 1990. But she
19 songs.
we have an album with 19 songs on it. But I think she also likes Subliminal Fine.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, we should get more of a move on here. So we're at an hour. So predictably,
All right.
you know, I figured this would take a couple of hours, and it probably will at this point. But what have we not? Have we even knocked off 10 songs yet? Or
We have
10,
not.
10 albums yet?
No, we have
Not quite.
Number 15.
We've talked a lot about the new stuff.
Yeah, we have.
So that's
All right.
good.
Are you ready?
You know, we were trying to do a like twice a month podcast on TVG. We were having a hard time
Yeah.
prioritizing it because Jayson wasn't loving the format, and I mean, it was a really fun format to do.
It was.
But you just didn't feel like you had enough to say about like each individual thing we were
No.
playing and all of that. And now I feel like we're getting a lot of the discussion we wanted to do in that entire podcast done in this one video.
Yeah.
But we do want to do some TVG content, and it's self-indulgent, and that's okay. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. What number are we at?
We were at 15. So my number 15.
Okay, can I read one more comment from Trevor here?
You
He
can.
says, thank you. I would be curious to ask the band why they sequence the albums the way they do. There are other bands I love that sequence wildly different tracks together more effectively. Yeah, I get frustrated with it too. I'll want to take an album and completely rearrange it.
Yeah.
And more recently,
should
they
do
haven't
that.
been great at last tracks, really. Like, we
No.
were talking about I Like Fun. Brightside is the clear choice
Yeah.
for your last track.
Yeah.
Clear choice.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more time. I'm sorry. What number are we on?
Number
15?
15. Yeah.
Long Tall Weekend.
That is mine too.
Oh, we have the same
Yeah.
15? That's amazing. Here's why that's amazing.
Well, and I knew like that had to be right because I did not think you had any others that were above Long Tall Weekend. I was like, there was no way.
Yeah. But what's amazing about that is I like that album and you don't.
Yeah.
But we both wound up on 15 for some reason.
Yeah.
That's very strange. Well, let's talk. You start. Let's talk a little bit about that. Tell everybody what that album is.
So that was a online album, I think.
And it was
from
the first
99.
full album in history released for purchase on the internet.
Really?
Yes,
Cool.
they did it first.
Did it first. Yeah, this was an album that was. I don't even know how to describe this.
Or at
isn't-
least, according to Wikipedia, by an established major label band.
Okay.
So, as much as anybody, they deserve the credit for that.
Yeah. I Like Fun stuck in my head.
we got to get back into the 90s here.
Yeah, so Long Tall Weekend has a bunch of songs from it's a lot more of a compilation album, I think, than some other things.
I think of it more as like a proto album.
Yeah.
What's really weird about Long Tall Weekend is it gets ahead of a lot of stuff, and then you get newer and arguably better, but not in every case, versions on quote-unquote real studio albums. Now, it is considered by a lot of people to be a studio album, and that's why we're counting it, but I think like a lesser one for a lot of folks, and like a quarter of it is Mink Car.
Is it?
Like a lot of Mink Car is, or maybe not a quarter, but like Older is there, and
Edith Head is there. but
Edith Head
that's-
is there. Is that it, actually?
Yeah.
I thought there was more of it.
Yeah. I mean, there was stuff from other albums.
Okay, yeah. Token Back to Brooklyn is there, which they included as a secret, like, 0 track on Factory Showroom, but that was actually before this. So I guess in that way, you're right. It is more compilation.
Yeah.
And then there are at least a couple of tracks that show up on other compilation things later, particularly if They Got Lost.
They Got Lost.
Like Rat Patrol. I don't know if that's on They Got Lost, but I know it's in a couple of places. And Reprehensible.
And then Edison Museum is on No
Yes.
later.
Which, to be fair, unlike some of the stuff with Y, that actually sounds like a kid song to me.
Yeah. The problem with this album is it just doesn't have, like,
Any kind of a sound.
Any kind of a sound, and it does have some good songs on it, but everything else is just meh.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And
but
it's
the
just
songs I
boring
like, I
listening to.
really like. And I guess that's why I think of it as an album I like more than you, because
Yeah.
some of my, and I don't mean to be a hypocrite, because I keep saying, like, and that's why I placed it 15.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have much of a sound. It is kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think the couple of albums that I have higher than this have that problem too, but not to the same degree.
Yeah.
But a couple of my favorite TMG songs are on to Long Tall Weekend, like Rat Patrol. I like that song a lot.
Yeah.
When I'm making the TMG playlist, it winds up on them quite often.
Yeah. I still don't understand
Much to
why
Jason's chagrin.
there's a I need to look this up at some point.
Yeah.
I still don't know why there's a like a red album cover and a blue album cover. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
Like, which one is the right one?
I guess it doesn't matter because at first it wasn't even released physically. Now you can get it on vinyl now,
Yeah.
and I have not bought that yet. Is there anything we brought up yet that I have not pulled out that we own?
No.
It's for obvious, understandable reasons.
Yeah.
More of the albums that I actually physically have right now are higher on our list
Yeah.
because we like them.
Right.
But Long Tall Weekend I will buy at some point.
Yeah.
When I get to a second round of these, I will definitely get it. It is cool that's on vinyl now. It has, in my mind, the better version of Edith Head. I like it at a higher register than the lower register.
I think I agree with that. But I heard the other version first.
So did I, and I still like this better.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I think this was the first time They Got Lost was actually released slow.
And I like it faster.
Yeah.
I like the severe tire damage version the best, and that is live,
It's
but I like it the
so
best.
weird slow. Like,
Oh, it's molasses. You're like,
speed it up.
you want to play it at
Go.
1.5 speed. Yeah. No, it's obnoxious. Okay. Let's find out what your
This
14
is gonna be
is.
a bit controversial.
I can't wait.
My number 14 is Lincoln.
I'm not upset, actually. I just have to grab the record. Hold on, give me a second here. Okay, I've got the record. Here it is. Here it is. And if I didn't want to keep this in pristine condition, I would smack you over the head with it. So I know you don't like this record as well as I do. How the hell is it 14 out of 23? What are you, nuts?
The problem. So I have actually been listening to Lincoln lately more. Just because I want to.
You're like I am with
Like
Dark Knight
it?
Rises. You're trying to love it.
I'm trying to. Well, not love it, but I'm trying to like it. There are. Just okay. Number one, I don't like the sound of it. Yeah, it does have a consistent sound and it does a good job of doing it. I just don't like it. And
Let's get this in time and place. So Lincoln comes out in what, 88?
88,
And
yeah.
that is the second studio album. After
And
Pink Album.
It does have a similar sound to Pink Album, but I think it is different.
That's my thing is I've always listened to them together.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I had a hard time even parsing out which song was on which because I screwed myself up. I used to randomize those two albums together as one playlist constantly. Yeah. But you're not wrong.
Yeah,
That
the
Lincoln does
instrumentation
have
is just weird to me.
Yeah. No, you're right. But I like it
Yeah.
though. And that's where it gets into just subjective taste, right?
And also, there are too many. The other problem is, I just like too many other albums more than this. I would listen to other albums rather than this. Like,
yeah, but some of your favorite. Well, I don't want to say some of your favorites, but like one or two of your favorite songs are on this album.
yeah.
Because you're a big Anna Ying guy.
No,
Are you not?
no.
Oh, I thought you
I'm
were.
a big Lie Still Little Bottle guy, but
Okay, I thought you like sung Anna Ying on karaoke a lot.
No.
No? Okay,
actually
all
don't.
right. Sometimes you don't know your own children. Top 3
it has
favorite songs on Lincoln.
I don't.
Well, I guess it makes sense it's at 14 if you can't even do that. Wow.
No, I can. I'm just trying to figure out number 3, Where Your Eyes Don't Go. Number
that's a great song.
2, They'll Need a Crane, and number 1, Life's a Little Bottle.
They'll Need a Crane is in my... And it's funny because when we did a karaoke stream for Team EG a while back, a couple people in the audience that had never heard that song before were like, oh, this is not the Giants' best writing. They'll Need a Crane is in my top 10, if not top 5 Team EG songs of all time.
Yeah.
And it has one of their best music videos as well.
Yeah, there are too many songs on this album that I just don't like.
And it has a lot of songs.
Right, that's the problem. Yeah, 19 songs. No, it has 18 songs. There are... This is not an opinion that is shared by most people, but I don't like Purple Toupee.
You know what? Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Purple Toupee.
I don't like Purple Toupee. It has the worst music video I've ever seen, and that's rude, but
it's not great.
It's not great, and
the Johns know it too. Like there were
Really?
some stupid compromises that happened with that. And have you listened to the commentary on Token, or sorry, not Token, Direct from Brooklyn?
I still want to.
Yeah,
but...
you should do that. They talk about that there.
Yeah.
World to Tress is a wonderful song.
It is.
Pencil Rain is a wonderful song. Pencil Rain got me so hard when I was in junior high school. The fake out ending, or like right in the middle, and then it fades back in. It's wonderful. That's the kind of novelty that really gets you as a kid.
Yeah, I don't like Pencil Rain. And I don't like Piece of Dirt, and I do like Mr. Me. I don't like Santa's Beard. I
Agreed.
don't like You'll Miss Me. I don't understand what you have with You'll Miss Me. I don't.
You'll Miss Me is a lot of fun. I don't.
It's not.
I don't.
You can't understand what he's saying. He's
I
just
don't
going,
hate any song. I don't hate any song on Lincoln, but I like all of it together as a piece. So there are certain songs that I just wouldn't really intentionally play out of order that much. Except I used to really like mixing it with Pink Album.
Yeah. I don't like Shoehorn with Teeth.
Which I don't understand. Shoehorn with Teeth is great.
I don't like Stand on Your Own Head.
Okay, well, you're
Snowball
just
in Hell is okay.
Cajun Aquarium is great.
And, okay, I will say I like Cajun Aquarium. It's not high on Lincoln, I don't think, but Kiss Me Son of God is weird because
I thought you really liked that song.
I love the Miscellaneous T version of that song, but when I listen to it,
they're not that different.
Yes, they are. They're very different. Like.
One's more unplugged, but I mean the lyrics are the same. The vocal performance is almost identical.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No. Okay. The Lincoln version of "Kiss Me, Son of God" is just weird. Just having it with like drums.
Bad?
I don't think it's bad. I just think it's weird. Listening to.
Hayden Spring, I love that he's still here because he doesn't know anything about Team G. He's like, for someone who knows nothing about this topic, this sounds like drugs were consumed.
That's funny.
Okay, do you mean that we sound like we took drugs? Because Jason's 13, and obviously I wouldn't have him do that. And I don't take drugs either. Or that you know about. No, kidding. Or are you saying that what we're talking about sounds like drugs were consumed? You know, the Giants. Yeah, so you and I just have big taste differences.
Yeah, I think we do.
With this. And it's really difficult for me to be objective with the earliest stuff because I listened to it so much.
Yeah, well, and the problem is I listened to Lincoln too much, and I just got sick of it.
I ruined you on Lincoln. Well,
no, more like I ruined myself on Lincoln because I.
Spoilers, guys. Lincoln is not my 14 because
what is your 14?
I'm a sane human being that likes great Team G albums.
It's no.
It is not no.
What is it?
It is Glean.
Really?
It is Glean.
Oh, okay.
And sort of like what you said with Lincoln, it's just because I couldn't put anything else under it. I mean, we're to a point after this, really after Long Tall Weekend, where every album is a good, if not great album.
Yeah.
And we start getting into, like, albums with lots of songs you really like, and so it just becomes a matter of the cohesive sound, right? Yeah. Like, how great is it as a record versus everything else? Glean with is a cohesive sound, given that it's a compilation of a bunch of songs that were written apart, not necessarily to be put together like that, isn't as cohesive as some of the stuff above it. Now, it may even have more of a cohesive sound than something like Factory Showroom, but then in that particular case, I think it has more standout tracks than Gleam does.
Yeah.
So that's why it winds up where it is. But I do like it a lot. I also admittedly, some of the reason I also put it where I did is because I haven't listened to it all that much as an album. I've listened to more of those songs separately during the Dial-A-Song thing, so it could move up when I spend more time with it, just like I have with Book. So take that with a grain of salt. Yeah. But that's why it is where it is. I'm going to guess Glean is in your top 10.
It's actually not.
Okay, interesting. Let's see where Jayson goes with 13.
My 13 is No.
Sure.
I like No.
Talking about a lady whose actual size. No!
No! No! No! There are a couple songs on this album I really don't like, but...
That's fair.
Most of it...
No is the Giants' first kids album for people who are not in the know.
Most of these songs are actually really good and are just fun kid songs, and I really enjoyed them as a kid listening to them.
And unlike Why, it actually feels like a kid's album. And there are some songs on that album that they wrote well before it, but they were just more thoughtful in their choices of what really makes sense to all go together to be a fun, imaginative, escapist thing for kids. They're not trying real hard to be educational with this album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true, because everything else, like most of their other albums, they're trying. You know?
Yeah, it was like Why it seems like it was trying to be sort of a sequel to No, except they didn't write most of the songs as kid songs, so it doesn't really work out.
It doesn't.
And again, most of them were actually written for children. But you get things like the Edison Museum, which was on Long Tall Weekend first, but I think works really great in that album, and it's a good song. The best thing about No, I think, is the 3 tracks at the end that serve to get kids winding down and ready to get sent off to bed. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really cool thing to do at the end of your kid's album.
You know,
and there's some of the best songs on the album, all 3 of them. Lazy Head, Bed, 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 and Sleepwalkers. They're all 3 really great tracks.
Yeah. You know the funniest thing about this album? At the end of it, it has Wake Up Call, and it's like, wake up, and it wakes you up so that you have to listen to I Am a Grocery Bag, and then it makes you go back to sleep.
I am a grocery bag.
I don't like that
song. It's 35 seconds long.
I know.
Deal with it. That would be like being like, I gotta drop The Spine 2 points because I don't like spines. It's 30 seconds!
Yeah, but I like spines, so...
Okay, top couple songs on No.
Couple songs. 4 of 2 is the best song on that album.
Wow, your mom doesn't like that song.
And yeah, I know.
We've already debated for hours.
Sleepwalkers is the second.
Oh wow.
And I almost want to say I'm Not Your Broom, but no.
I Am Not Your Broom.
When I was 39 and a half years old,
I heard a story.
The House at the Top of the Tree, probably.
I love that song. I'm surprised she didn't say Balloons.
I do like Balloons quite a bit, but it's probably
which is the first Danny Weinkauf written song for TMBG, I do believe.
I'm pretty sure.
Am I right about that?
Sure.
And then he kept writing kid songs for the albums after that, and he has had a illustrious career doing specifically kids albums on his own, kind of like Justin Roberts, and he's up to 8 or 9 now, and I'm not listening to them all. I only recently realized he did that many. I listened to his first kids album and liked it quite a bit, and it's really kind of just spiritual successors to No and ABC's, but I listened to his most recent album, and it's wonderful. Like, he has not skipped a beat, it doesn't seem like.
Yeah. Unlike the Giants.
And at some point, I'll listen to the rest of those, and then for the 2 people in the audience that know what I'm talking about, I'll rank those in like 13 seconds.
Right. Make a YouTube short out of it.
Yeah. Okay, Jason, we are at like an hour 15 minutes. Are you good to keep going?
Yeah, I am.
Because I could see us splitting this into two, given how long it's been taking us to get through this.
We only have we only have 12 left.
But like the big heavy hitters. Although I guess it's easier to explain the stuff you love,
Easier to
right?
explain the stuff you like.
Okay, are you good or do you want to take a break real quick?
Let's take a break.
Okay, hopefully everybody's cool with that. We'll go ahead and take like a 3 or 4 minute break and come back and get, we're at about the halfway point, right?
Mm.
And we'll come back and take a look at the rest of our list, and we'll be right back, folks. All right, everybody, we're back. We're going to try to finish up our ranked list of Team BG albums. What you've been listening to here is a chiptune version of the couple select tracks of the entirety of Factory Showroom by a YouTube channel. The name is Luke Hennish, and it sounds really good.
Yeah.
Like, shockingly good instrumentation there. I like it. Okay, Hidden Spring, new video idea, rank every frame in 89. Challenge accepted. Okay.
Wait, what's your favorite frame in 89?
My favorite frame in 89?
What would your favorite frame be in 89?
The first thing that comes to mind is Love That Joker, but,
Yeah.
or maybe it's the frame of Batman looking up at the helicopter, specifically where his belt has dropped.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back into this. What number are we at, and who are we at? Whose turn is
We're
it?
you and
At me for
number
13. My number 13 is Mink Car.
Really?
Mink Car is an album that I initially didn't care for and thought the Giants had kind of lost their mojo, and it was disappointing for me in high school because it was the first new album that I got to listen to from them. So when I got into the band, Factory Showroom was out. I think then the next thing that came out was Severe Tire Damage. So it was the first like true new TMG record that I got to get, and then I think it was State Songs like right after that.
State Songs came out in '99.
Oh, it came out before State Songs. Okay. I'm sorry, before Mink Car. So, because Mink Car is what, like 2001? But I don't know if I even found State Songs until after that. I think that was like a discovery for me. It was like, oh, this has been out. I didn't get it right away. But anyway, that is an album that has a few songs that I love, some of which are my favorite Team BG songs, or some of my favorite Team BG songs now. But the sound is very all over the place. And I think that's...
Really?
Yes. You and your mom have this thing with Mink Car that I don't understand, where you guys see it as a cohesive piece, and I think it's much closer to Factory Showroom, where it's just a hodgepodge of ideas and sounds.
I never actually thought you thought that.
Oh, I do indeed. Well, I didn't know you liked first tracks so much. But I think Mink Car is one of the best, if not the best, examples of what Trevor was talking about with song placement issues and with pacing problems. I really have that with that album. Favorite songs off of Mink Car include Hovering Sombrero. Is just a brilliant song. I love it so much. It's one of Linnell's best vocal performances in anything, I think. The title track, unlike I Like Fun, is one of its best songs.
Is the best song on the...
And your mom agrees with you. And Finished with Lies is a wonderful song.
Another First Kiss is a great song, I think, but yeah.
It's more of a mid-range song for that album. Oh, I'm sorry. I like Finished with Lies fine. Hopeless Weak Despair is a better song than that.
Oh, yeah.
And Hopeless Weak Despair is one of those narrative songs that actually has a great payoff, because the Giants don't always do that the best. But when you get to the end and it's like, the way I got... Spoiler alert for Hopeless Weak Despair. But the way I got rid of my despair is I went to hell, the despair went to heaven. That's how I got rid of it.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about how... like dark and melancholy and bleak the Giants' ideas and lyrics often are, juxtaposed with a really bouncy, light, fun sound. A lot of my favorite Giant songs, like a lot of Team BG fans, those are the songs I most gravitate towards.
Yeah.
The kind of morbid humor.
Yeah.
And, of course, I have come to a place where I just love drink.
Yeah. I'll take back my pinata.
And we do that all the time. Like, we'll finish a TMG song, and I'll just
then we'll
immediately
just play
launch
it.
into, I'll take back my pinata! And Drink's one of those songs that I didn't care about until I heard it in concert.
Really?
It's such a great live song. Yeah. But yeah, I remember putting Mink Car in for the first time, hearing Bangs and going... oh boy, I don't know. And Bangs is not a great song.
Yeah.
It's fine, it's too long. And I think, starting with John, and I love John Henry, but starting with John Henry, I think the Giants started occasionally having songs that went on a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And Mink Car has that a lot more. I say that with John Henry. I don't know if there's any particular track I would even point to with that, but I remember feeling that way, early on. Compared to some of their earlier albums.
Yeah.
Again, if you're too tired, we can do a second half later on.
I'm not.
And then some of the kind of pseudo hip hop stuff on that album I just didn't love.
Really?
Yeah. So I was feeling already like Flanzy had kind of lost it, like well before the modern stuff where we feel that way. I've come around on it. I like it a lot more than I used to. Like Mr. Excitement is a song that I actually like now. I didn't back in the day when I first heard it.
Yeah.
Wicked Little Critter, I still don't get.
There's not a
fine.
bad song on this album.
Yeah, there is. I mean, and that's why it's my 13. We're like, I don't like I've Got a Fang. That's not a great song.
Really?
Yeah is whatever. Wicked Little Critter is whatever. Again, I like
when
it more
I
now
get
than
to
I used
when I
to,
get
but...
to my I'll say what I like about it. But,
Oh, absolutely, sure. Okay, moving right along. We're
my
to
number 12 is
number
ABCs.
12.
I like ABCs.
My number 11 is Here Come the ABCs. I'll just go ahead and throw that out then. And
Okay.
just say I got real close to you with ABCs. Talk about that a little bit.
I like ABCs. I like the videos for ABCs. And I don't like listening to ABCs as a CD because it doesn't make any sense. Because
is it the only reason it's not a little higher?
When you just turn on a CD and you just hear what am I listening to? Like
of the three kids records that you're supposed to watch videos with is the most cohesive and most coherent. It feels like it has a real honest to God order, and it strikes the best balance between educational and kind of whimsical fun, right? Where sometimes it's not even that educational, but just the fact that you're seeing letters and words on the screen is like, makes it automatically educational. And I think the Giants got that, and it was easier to write songs that were just inherently educational than it was even with 1, 2, 3s, and especially with science.
Yeah, because it's all about understanding which letters are which.
Best tracks on ABCs.
I really like QU, and Alphabet of Nations is great.
And that's a beloved TMG song now. That's another one of those that you see a lot of T-shirts for all the time.
Yeah.
They used to open concerts with it constantly, and I think they still play it in shows quite a bit.
D&W is great, and I like
How come I haven't seen you around much lately, D? Well, I got this brand new TV set at home now, and I like to watch the sports.
I don't like
Fake
Can
Believe?
You Find It as much as you.
Because I love Can You
But
Find It.
I do like it.
The only thing I don't like about Can You Find It is it doesn't really make any sense if you're not watching the video of
right,
it.
that's the problem with it.
Can you find the hidden H in this picture? Or sorry, where it's hiding?
The ones that aren't as good are definitely Fake Believe, Foul Family.
Oh, yeah.
And then also
the
Who
two
Put
songs,
the Alphabet in Alphabetical Order.
Yeah, well, the two songs with the deeply felt puppet theater are not...
We want to thank him for helping us out.
I don't want to thank them all. I want them to just not be here, but...
Have you ever heard
just the dissonance in the...
Yeah. Oh, and you can tell that the Johns weren't a big fan of
We're the Vowel Family, and we'd like to sing some more.
It's really funny, because before most of the tracks, they'll have this thing with, like, puppet versions of the Johns, and so, the segment right before Who Put the Alphabet in Alphabetical Order is amazing because he's like, here's another song. What's it called? It's called Who Built the Alphabet in Alphabetical Order. All right. Like, it's just...
They don't even want to play that.
Yeah, and then, I also really like, C's for Conifers.
C's for Conifers is fun. ICU is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And that's probably the Giants' best, like, country pastiche.
Yeah.
Because they have one on Jen Henry, which is okay, but I think that's the better one.
I think it is too.
Okay. So anyway, moving
what is
right
your
along.
Number 13. Number 12.
But yeah, ABC's is pretty classic for me. Your mom and I watched it and listened to it constantly when it came out, which is a testament to it because we didn't have kids yet.
Yeah.
And kind of wished that had come out closer to when we were getting married and having kids, because my wife and I had a long engagement, and we just knew it was going to be a long time before we had kids. And we got to see the Giants. So I've seen the Giants concert 10 times, and I think somewhere around 9 or 10 times. And we've seen them twice at kid shows because they used to go to a thing out in Kansas City called Jiggle Jam, which I don't think they even do anymore. That's where I found out about Justin Roberts, who has the song that I've used for years now for the theme for Superhero Rewind. And the Giants used to play at that show, and we saw them twice before we had kids, and we were like, "Oh, this sucks. We don't have kids yet." And now Jayson is this huge TMG fan, knows more than I do probably, and has not got to see them because you have to be 21 to go to one of their shows.
Right.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Because they play at a lot of clubs.
Yeah, what is your number 12?
My number 12 is Factory Showroom.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I was not expecting. See, we have way different lists now. Up in the higher ones.
And I knew that was going to happen. So, once again, I'm a broken record. But Factory Showroom has a lot of great songs on it, but it has like 5 different sounds. Now, I will say, later on, and it's hard to articulate this, there are songs in later records that I feel like should go on Factory Showroom, but I don't know what that sound actually is.
Yeah.
You
can put any song on Factory Showroom.
There's not a song on Factory Showroom I just straight up dislike, but they just don't all really go together for me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have as many classic great songs as the earliest stuff. And I think it is when you start with Pink Album and you go up through Factory Showroom, it's the weakest of those albums, which is why I put it where I put it. But I do like it more than Mink Car, so
yeah,
that's why it's above that. But like James K. Polk is a wonderful classic Team BG song that actually is kind of educational, but I don't know that I would have put it on a kid's album. And then New York City is probably Flancy's best cover, or certainly one of them. It's way up there. I like the original too. I forget the group that does that, but I've heard it. I don't know if you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like can I sing it like a girl? Your mom doesn't, but I think that's a great song.
She also doesn't like Till My Head Falls Off for some reason.
Oh, which is
one of the best TMPG songs.
One of their best like harder banger songs. I wish they had more songs like that actually.
She does really like XTC versus Animat.
And that song is just fine to me. Spiraling Shape, I used to call my favorite TMG song of all time.
Awesome.
That was all the way up at the top.
Which was also way up at the top for me.
Some things have eclipsed it now. And I don't even mean necessarily a lot of like newer things, but just as I get older, it falls a little bit farther. But it's still probably in my top. It's at least in my top 20. I would say. I like Bells Are Ringing more than you do. Sorry.
I don't like Bells Are Ringing, but I mean we'll get into what songs I like and don't like.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I was actually not expecting you. That caught me off guard, actually.
It's maybe lower than I thought it would be as well.
Because you're putting these lower than some kids' albums.
That is true.
Which I would never do.
I just think, and it's obvious which ones now, but I just think a couple of the kids' albums harken back so well to their earlier sound that they end up winding up higher for me, both for, again, cohesive sound and number of tracks I really care for.
Yeah. So we already talked about your number 11.
Yeah.
So my number 11 is Glean.
Yeah, which, like I said earlier, I thought would be a little bit higher than that.
And I just have too many. There are just too many albums.
Sure.
Too many albums that I like just a bit better than this.
I think you're right not to include it in the top 10, but I thought it would be there.
Yeah. I have listened to this album as a cohesive piece more than you have.
Yeah.
And I think of it as just
so you probably
another
just
TMBG album.
You probably appreciate it a lot more. For that.
There are best songs on it are Erase, and
I forgot was actually on that. Okay,
yeah,
that actually brings it up a little bit for me because I love that song.
Probably Music Jail is the third one. And then I also like Underwater Woman quite a bit.
Madam, I Challenge You to a Duel is cool.
Great,
Hate the Villanelle is a great song.
Villanelle is great.
Don't Hate the Villain. But
Okay,
you know what else it has?
Let me tell you about my operation.
Stop telling me about your operation.
Okay, so that song was
I don't want to hear
fine.
it. I don't want to hear about it anymore.
It was okay
until live shows.
Every single live show, he'll do it.
Let me tell you.
Every single one. I haven't seen a new live after Glean that came out after Glean that doesn't have that.
And again,
track.
Jason hasn't been to live shows,
Right.
but they've streamed quite a few.
Yeah.
Which
But
is
I
super
haven't
cool of them,
seen
by the way.
Any that hasn't had it. It's really funny.
If you're a fan of this band or you're getting into them, I implore you to go look up any show they did in 2018 for the I Like Fun tour, because the sound is so full and they were just really on their game that tour. And like I've seen video of them with this more recent tour, and it's good, but they were just on fire with that I Like Fun tour. And I don't even like that album, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't like it a lot.
Yeah. Do you like Good to Be Alive?
Did I even mention where I Like Fun landed with mine?
No, you didn't.
Did I skip it?
I think you did.
It was 16.
Okay.
It's right before Long Tall Weekend is where I put it. So I had I Like Fun above Join Us and above Phone Power, because I just think, again, it kind of holds together better as an album. And we talked about the tracks that we like and didn't like, but like I like about half of it. So anyway, I just wanted to sneak that in there real quick because I don't think I actually mentioned it.
I agree with that. Yeah. Do you like Good to Be Alive?
It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think it's like the spiritual successor. I feel like it's like the flancy version of Am I Awake?
Oh, interesting.
I always thought of it as that.
I've never had that thought. Okay, where are we at now?
We are at...
So you're keeping track of this better than I am.
Number 10, starting with me.
Okay, we're going to try to get through this. I am fading a little bit.
Really?
But we're going to try. Yeah, it's midnight. I'm glad you don't have school tomorrow.
Yeah. My number 10 is Cast Your Pod.
Yeah, I love Cast Your Pod. Talk about that a little bit.
Cast Your Pod,
and again, we're cheating by counting that.
Cast Your Pod is a B-side that came out as extra disc on the Else, and it was compiled of a bunch of songs that came out that they
I can't
played.
even find it on this list.
That they played during like a big like TMBG podcast series that they were doing, and so that's why some of the songs are about podcasts.
And that's another one of those albums that like I said, with some of the kids' albums, just really calls back to their earliest writing.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's quirky and whimsical in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Haunted Floating Eye
is great.
Is a wonderful song, and I cannot find it on this list. Somehow it did not make the wiki at all, it looks like.
That's funny. But yeah, best songs, We Live in a Dump is great, Brain Problem Situation is great, Vestibule is great.
Not vegetable, vestibule.
Vestibule. I said vestibule.
I'm just making sure everybody knows it's not vegetable.
Vegetable.
Vestibule. Kendra McCormick.
The best song on it kind of technically doesn't count, but the best song on it is the live version of Metal Detector. Because here's the thing, and
that
I will talk about this.
Is all over the place in the right way. I don't know how to articulate it really, but like Miscellaneous Tea, it all ends up gelling, but it is kind of all over the place.
Yeah. So I hate Metal Detector.
Some of it kind of helps when the songs are shorter.
Yeah.
But the problem with Factory Showroom is when you have 13 tracks
that are all like
three and a half minutes long.
Yeah.
It needs to be more. I don't know. I can't think of a better word than cohesive, but yeah.
But yeah, I hate Metal Detector, and I don't like the sound of it just at all, and it doesn't fit with the rest of the
You
Factory
just don't
Showroom
like
at all. No, that's not even it. I just don't like the instrumentation at all of it at all, and I really like songwriting and everything. They just did not do it right.
You don't like the way it's implemented.
But I do in the live version. I really like how they do it live, and so I'm really glad that they actually put it on an album.
Well, it's kind of like, except I like
favorite
the song more,
songs.
but it's kind of like She's Actual Size in Severe Tire Damage,
yeah.
where it's jazzed up, literally.
Yeah.
And he turns into a better song. Now that like super improves on that song.
Yeah, it
in going with like a swing syncopation, it's really really cool. But with Metal Detector, it's got such a good horn solo.
Yeah.
And that was a really kind of clever idea where it's like listen to the things that are found underground.
Yeah.
And then you get this awesome horn solo. It's great.
I also like Catch Your Part of the Wind, and you know the best song, the Mexican Drill.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, I am.
The Deranged Millionaire. That was a special disc for me. I listened to that constantly when I was working at the mortuary.
Well, I wasn't working at a mortuary, but
it was so you didn't exist yet. That was 3 years before you were born, but it was really special to me to get 2 discs that I loved. I don't want to say equally, but a lot with that and the else.
Yeah.
And Brain Problem Situation is a great song. You probably mentioned that.
Yeah, I did.
Anyway, yeah, I have it a little higher than you. Where?
And the problem.
Yeah.
And the problem with I Like Fun, is it has a song about a microphone, and they already made a song about a microphone.
So
and it was,
fail.
Like,
You
way
get an
better.
L. You get an L for that.
Yes.
Okay, so that was number 12? No.
That was number 10. We're in top 10.
10. Okay. And we I'm sorry. I'm really starting to get a little bit out of it here. So did I get my 11 out? ABCs?
No.
I don't think I got my 11 out.
No, you didn't.
But yes, I had ABCs that high.
Okay. Wow.
It
Mine was 12.
It was an 11 for me, and then 10 for me is No.
Okay.
No did crack my top 10, which I'm really surprised by. It wouldn't have if State Songs counted, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't pull Mink Car out when we talked about Mink Car, but I just
You didn't take I Like Fun out either.
Oh, I forgot I had that. Okay, well then here is I Like Fun. This is the one record we have that is signed by the Johns. And I didn't meet them in person to get this signed, but I bought it at one of their concerts. And it was signed. And the only reason I bought it was because I wanted to sign something from them. So I was like, I guess this album is okay enough to own, but I haven't played it a lot. And then Mink Car. And I'm not pulling the discs out because, it's taking us long enough to talk about all this anyway, but at some point I'll do, I want to do some collection videos this next year, and I want to do one on vinyl records, and I'll pull these out when we do that. But here's the one for Mink Car. It's got a really cool insert, and it's got a really, really pretty looking disc, but I'll talk about that down the road.
Yeah. Should we go to number 9? Or do you want to say anything about No?
Well, I mean, I guess we talked enough about that already. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself too much, except just to say that there are a couple of there are some songs there, of course, that I absolutely adore. I think it does have a good sound. It is, I think, in a lot of ways, their best kids album. ABC is.
I think you did talk about ABCs.
Oh, maybe
already.
I did.
Yeah, because.
Well, we talked about it some
when
you brought it up.
Because
but...
you said that you had yours at 11.
Is that what I did with it?
That's what you did with it. That's why I forgot, because.
Well, we did talk a lot about No when you brought it up, but I'll just say, For Violin is actually a really good opening track. I like it quite a bit. And House at the Top of the Tree is a lot of fun, and that was a song that was a lot of fun to memorize. And like I said, I really love the going to sleep songs at the end. We're gonna make it, or should we go to bed?
I think we should. I think we are gonna make it.
We should make it.
We should make it.
We should try to make it.
We should be able to make it.
Okay.
We have 9 left. We'll be fine.
My number 9. But they're the bigger ones.
They're the biggest ones.
Yeah.
You have Miscellaneous T in your top 10.
It turns out that I do. Nah, I just didn't include it.
My number 9 is Mink Car.
Which doesn't surprise me. I mean, I know you love that.
I really like Mink Car, and I don't know what you're talking about, that it doesn't have a cohesive sound. I think I could say that it has maybe 2 sounds in it. That it kind of flips between, but I think they actually go together pretty well. It has a lot more of like a softish sound, and then it also has a lot more of a rock slash like rock combined with hip hop sort of sound.
And you just, again, some of this is just taste, right? Like, you are a hip hop guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Do you agree that Hovering Sombrero is one of the greatest songs Lionel ever wrote?
Yeah, I think so.
I just love that song. And it hurt my feelings when we did the karaoke stream and I couldn't do that song.
Yeah.
Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 9.
Your number 9.
And when it first came out, I sure didn't think it would ever make my top 10. Is The Spine.
Really?
Which I just could not stop listening to at a certain point.
Yeah.
And it is probably in my, and I didn't make my list based entirely on this, obviously, but like it's probably in the 4 or 5 that are in my playlist rotation the most now.
Yeah.
I play it all the time. It was the album that I listened to constantly when I first got into selling comics and I was sorting comics. I listened to it all the time. And so I have this weird comic association with The Spine, where there's certain titles and characters and things that I associate with whenever I listen to The Spine, particularly Image stuff like Spawn of the Darkness and stuff like that. I always think about when I'm listening to Spine, and it just feels clever and more creative the more I listen to it.
Yeah.
I also want to tack on real quick that I adore Spine Surfs Alone. And we're just not talking about that here because it was only a 6-song EP.
Yeah.
A couple of which should have been on The Spine.
Yeah.
And I think there are songs that are not as good as those that could have been taken off to make room for them. Particularly, what is that? What is that song I love on Spine that opens with the piano? That piano opening, or Spine Surfs Alone.
Or are you talking about You Can Only Think of Me?
You Can Only Think of Me. That's it. Yeah.
That's one of the weirdest music videos.
That is a wonderful song.
It literally has a camera pointed at a sink.
And I think part of the reason it's not any higher than it is, I've got it at 9, is because it's one of those albums that I love listening to cover more than any of its individual tracks.
Yeah. I guess I can agree with that.
And it also has tracks that I like more, once again, after I saw them in concert.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Thunderbird is kind of like that. Damn Good Times is one of Flanzi's best concert songs.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that, and I Can't Hide From My Mind is one of the best last tracks on a Team BG album.
Yeah.
But one of the things that threw me with that album was I was confused when I first heard it. I thought the Giants were kind of done and out of ideas, and then they had a song that has the lyric, "I'm out of ideas."
Yeah.
And I was out. Like, that was it. And once I was able to get past that, it all clicked into place for me. But Wearing a Raincoat is great.
Yeah.
World Before Later On is a surprisingly cool song.
Yeah. It's great.
Anyway, what do you have?
For number 8, I have Factory Showroom.
Okay.
I really like Factory Showroom.
Favorite songs on Factory? Sorry, you were talking. Go ahead.
I listen to Factory Showroom quite a bit. I turn on Factory Showroom and Mink Car probably way too much.
Was that one of your earliest? I'm listening to this album a lot.
No.
Kind of albums. Miscellaneous T was like that.
Miscellaneous T and Lincoln were the big ones.
Which is so weird because you don't care for that record as much.
No, I don't. Yeah, Till My Head Falls Off is great. New York City is great. Spiral and Shape is great. SCXXY is great. How Can I Sing Like a Girl is pretty good. Exquisite Dead Guy is great.
And James K. Polk is one of the best concert songs.
James K. Polk is really good. I like Ecstasy versus Adamant. And then I hate Bells Are Ringing.
Can you stop
what's
it and I
number
can
8?
hear you? Made at the Edison Laboratory.
Yeah, I kind of just stop it. I can hear you. Well, no, I basically I always forget about Pet Name, so like Pet Name is okay.
It's okay. Trevor had another point that I wanted to bring up. He says some of their really short songs slash ditties are significantly better than others, and I couldn't tell you why.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I think it's easier to explain why some of the longer songs don't work, which is some of those shorter ideas just don't overstay their welcome.
Right.
And I think some of those longer songs, had they stayed, in that like 45-second to minute and a half range,
Yeah.
we might like them a little bit better. But then I don't know with some of them, because you'll get songs that sound like they're kind of constructed from the beginning as more like straightforward 3-minute, meant to be played on the radio kind of rock songs.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
All right, what is your number 8?
Number 8. Yeah, we're going to mosey a little bit quicker here. Number 8 is Cast Your Pod to the Wind, and I couldn't believe I had it that high.
It's crazy.
But I just love it that much, man. I see this kind of the spiritual successor to Miscellaneous Tea, which I have not mentioned yet.
Yeah, I wonder how high it actually is.
And we talked about that album some already. 10 minutes before we get to 2 hours, so we're gonna kind of blow through the end
probably.
here. And I feel bad about that, because maybe we haven't talked about some of the better albums enough since we've been talking about lesser albums so much. I'm worried about that.
I think we've kind of talked about.
Maybe we can do some breakdowns down the road if anybody cares. Go ahead.
My number 7
Yeah.
is the Pink Album, the Big Blue Dog itself.
Not high enough, in my opinion, good sir.
Um,
So you think the Giants have improved several times over since the Pink Album?
yeah, I really like the Pink Album, and I actually listened to it quite a bit. The problem is TMG have like so many albums that there's just like the 12 albums that are really good. So like you can't really like.
And that's how
I actually
prolific.
enjoy playing.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem with the Pink Album is it's not as it's their first record, so it is not as produced as other albums, and so it.
But it's so impressive how produced it is with what little resources they had, and the fact that it's just 2 of them with a drum machine.
Yeah, there are some really weird things on this album, and it's a really cool kind of first album because it sets the tone for what they like as far as songwriting goes, and
In between them, separately.
yeah, and they're something that they don't do that much at all anymore, that they did a lot with these first couple albums, is the kind of like background noises that they would do.
Yeah, they were all about the sound effects.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is the beginning of Rabid Child is just creepy. And I actually really like that sound.
And they do a lot of that all the way
They
through
do.
Flood. Immediately when you said that, Hot Shot came in my mind.
Yeah. But yeah, and all
Like the
back-
mechanical and woodworking sounds and all that.
Yeah, and then all the like backward stuff that they do and stuff.
They're all about backwards.
Yeah. I do. There's not that many songs that I don't like. There are some
Same here.
kind of weirder songs that I don't like to say that I like. It's just, it's part of the album.
And like your mom, some of my favorite songs on that album are the weirder ones. Like I love Chesapeake's Phase.
Yeah.
Chesapeake's Phase has a lot to do with why I'm such a TBG fan.
Yeah.
And if I ever had a TBG cover band, because I've always wanted to. I have an accordion. I've not learned to play it. I've always wanted to learn to play the accordion. If I ever did that, the band would be called Chess Piece Phase. 3 best songs on Pink album.
Yeah.
Go.
Can
you do it?
Can I do it? Nothing's Gonna Change My Clothes is number 1.
Wow, that's a
Well,
great
actually,
song.
no, number 2. She's an Angel is number 1, obviously.
Yes.
And then number 3.
You're just right about that. You're just right about that. Well, see, that's the thing is there's so much on Pink album I love. It's way up there for me. But I think in like this is so, you know, like obvious like TMG fanboy stuff. But like yeah, it's hard to put much above Don't Let Start.
Yeah, Don't Let Start is probably number 3. You know what's...
Number 3 is not number 3?
Yeah, I was about to... I was thinking about number 3.
Were you going to make that joke?
No. I actually wasn't. You know what's funny? There are, like, 7, Linnell songs. And my top 3 are all Linnell songs.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
But,
I think Flanzy has all the, like, weird stuff on it, you know?
Well, I mean, that's not changed.
Right.
But there are albums where his stuff is not the weirdest stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But Puppet
Head's okay.
Oh, real? Okay. I love Puppet Head.
It's not one of my favorites.
And it would be unfair to not mention Everything Right Is Wrong again, because like
It's
what a
great.
strong opening track,
Yeah,
right?
it's great.
Like the first TMG song a lot of people ever heard was that song. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
That's true.
you know, of course they got as big as they did after that. Like,
Yeah. And I actually really like... really is a strong word.
Yeah.
I actually do like Hideaway Folk Family.
Hideaway.
It's not a bad song. It's weird, especially toward the end, but...
The day Marvin Gaye and Philip, and I don't know, like I wouldn't like that song except that is one that like is weirdly kind of placed well to me. That seems like the right penultimate song. It's hard to explain it. Like I never play that on its own, but it works in that record. I can't explain why.
You can't play that on its own.
The trees all wave their giant arms. My number 7, is that where we're at? Is Miscellaneous D.
Okay, yeah.
It winds up that high. And again, we're cheating. It is not technically a studio record by most measurements, but it has some of the most important original songs that a lot of fans still talk about and want the Giants to play to this day. And it has my favorite They Might Be Giants song of all time, which is It's Not My Birthday.
Yeah.
It's got For Science, which is one of the funniest TMG songs.
And the biggest one, which is another one of the funniest.
Yeah,
TMG
which
songs.
sounds like a Lincoln song to me.
Which I don't agree with, but...
Well, you're wrong. Birds Fly is awesome.
Birds Fly is great. Nightgown of the Sullen Moon is amazing. I really like that song.
Fly. In Through My Way. I'll Sing Manhattan is awesome.
Yep.
Mr. Claw.
And I like all the instrumental stuff. I like Lady as a Tramp really a lot. I like Hello Radio a lot.
And it did what Pink Album probably should have done, which is put Don't Let Start at the end. Because that's such a great closing track. And I think Rhythm Section 1 ad works really well as the last track too, but I don't know, maybe that could have been the penultimate track and you could just leave the day out.
Yeah.
But
and it has replacements, which is great.
When I first heard that song as a kid, I thought it was we live in a basement.
Yeah.
We live in a basement.
And when it rains and snows is great.
I identified with it more when I thought it was that.
Yeah.
Because I lived in a basement.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That album's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just killer. And yes, it has a few repeated songs from other albums, but most of them sound pretty different. And the Joshua Fried remix of World's Address is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I still love to listen to that. And Hey Mr. DJ is one of their most popular songs among their fans. It is a really popular live track, and wild to think that was Miscellaneous T and not on a bigger album.
Yeah. It's true.
Jayson will talk more about that album. Possibly right now. I'm wondering where, or no, maybe it's top 3 because I know Jayson loves that album. It's possible it's in his top 3. So that was number 7. We go to number 6.
My number 6 is not Miscellaneous Tea.
Because that's in the top 3. Let's find out.
It is John Henry.
John Henry.
I like John Henry quite a bit.
Oh,
And-
such a special record, and you know,
And I feel really bad not putting it higher, but I don't know. I put it as high as I could. You know?
I wonder how many Giants fans love that album as much as we do, because there are a couple of songs that get played a lot live and that I know fans really like, but I feel like it's a lesser album for a lot of people.
It is.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Now, some of it is I'm a big 90s rock fan,
Right.
and it is one of, if not their most mainstream sounding albums.
Yeah.
Even though there's still weirdness and quirkiness on it.
Yeah.
But just for them, it's
Yeah.
one of their most pop sounding albums.
Yeah.
And I was just a big fan of that sound at the time. So to get to hear their version of that was kind of a treat for me.
Yeah.
You know, like I was really into B&L during that period and stuff. And of course they get compared to Bare Naked Ladies. They get compared to the Baby Giants all the time.
Really?
They're like the mainstream version for a lot of people of the Baby Giants. I could see them touring together.
Yeah. Really.
B&L was a bigger band than them, certainly. But
John Henry has great, like, really good songs on it. Best song,
and one of their most cohesive sounding records.
yeah.
And I love the melancholy feel of that album. It's perfect for October. Like, that's like my Halloween period Giants album.
Which I kind of agree with. It is not my Halloween period Giants album, but it is.
Do you
probably
have one?
Yeah, I do.
What would that be?
I'll tell you when I get to it.
Okay, fine. Sorry, go ahead.
But
I'm stealing his thunder.
John Henry, I think of John Henry as more of like a spring kind of record, actually.
Interesting. Okay. Best tracks.
Best track is End of the Tour. Second best track is Destination Moon, and third best track is Sleeping in the Flowers.
Wow, interesting. Self-Called Nowhere is higher than that for me.
Which I really like that song. It's probably high for me.
I Should Be Allowed to Think is a really special song for me.
Yeah.
Just thematically, that really resonated with me at the time. It's real, anti-establishment, counterculture kind of stuff, independent thinking. And I made a music video of it in high school with a friend of mine, and we won a contest with it. So that's kind of a special thing for me.
That's cool. And I really like Spy.
Or a contest, I guess a festival. But Spy is awesome. Talk for a second about the demos.
Yeah, so we've been listening to the John Henry demos quite a
I'm still
bit.
not pulling records out. Hold on.
No, you're not.
I gotta pull out the records. The records. What was the last one we just talked about?
We talked about Spine recently.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Here comes Spine. Okay, there's the Spine.
Here Comes the Spine.
Well, I'm just saying. Here it is. It's
Yeah.
yeah. The record is. And you know what? I always think of this as Spine, but it is in fact called The Spine. But I don't have that with the L's. I don't think of the L's as L's. I think of it as the L's. Pink Album.
Pink Album. Yep.
And then right now we are at. What were we talking about?
We're talking about the John Henry demos.
And then, so John Henry has not gotten a vinyl release yet,
But the John Henry demos
but
have.
the demos have.
Yeah.
And we bought them because they're actually quite good, and it's a
Most of them.
decent substitution for the real record.
Yeah.
But hopefully at some point we get it. But here's the demos.
Yeah. So some notes about the demos. Spy, that is the best version of Spy. It is really cool, and I really
The
like
muted
all the
trumpet is
the
so
muted trumpet
cool.
is great. All the electric guitar stuff they do way better in the demos, I think.
And they've got quite the drummer.
Yeah.
In that through the whole demo sessions.
Yeah. Is it Unrelated Thing that's a bit lower?
Yeah, it's
dropped down a bit.
transposed down. Yeah.
Window is the most like heavy rockin', like it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh Do Not Forsake Me is awesome.
It's hilarious
because they have like there's like a violin and stuff, and
I Should Be Allowed to Think it opens with like a organ sound.
And Why Am I
It doesn't have an
Sad?
ending.
He just doesn't know how to sing that song yet. He just doesn't even know his own songs.
It sounds like bad karaoke.
Yeah. He's just like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. I love the dead. And then he's like, I've been thinking about it.
I didn't want to get too into that. I just wanted
But-
people to know what the demos were.
Yeah,
like that
they're
was
awesome.
that was a session, and they don't do this with everything, but that was a session they did over a few days while they were putting that album together. And certain tracks didn't change that much,
No.
and some of them changed quite a bit.
Yeah, end of the tour didn't change that much.
And some fans think that it's better than the actual album. Overall, I can't say that, but there are certain tracks that are either cooler or just as good.
Yeah.
But again, for your vinyl collection, it is a great substitute until we get the real thing. And even then, I would still put it in some.
And it's really weird.
We've been listening to it a lot.
because it has like the normal record, and then the last two tracks are just on a 45. It's really funny.
So you have to flip it 4 times if you're going to listen to it.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's like you couldn't get all of it on that record. Like you think about how long Apollo 18 is, and you're like, how did that happen?
Or what is your number 6? I'm gonna guess Flood.
Number 6 is Lincoln.
Lincoln. Oh, I forgot about Lincoln. You hadn't said
We already
that.
talked about that. Everything you heard Jason say about that record is wrong. No, not everything, just most things. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to repeat myself too much. Lincoln is a perfect follow-up to Pink Album, but takes more risks. Tries some new things, some of which don't work out as well as others. Of course, Purple Toupee, like Jason said, not a great song. Cowtown, not a great song. But some of the cleverest lyric writing is in Lincoln, and is definitely an appetizer for Flood, which is a lot of fans' main chorus. And you get tracks like Where Your Eyes Don't Go, which I think is lyrically brilliant.
Actually really like.
Some of their most poetic, some of Linnell's especially most poetic lyric writing is in that album, but Flanzy as well, actually. When he gets into the kind of the weird beatnik poetry stuff, which I like a lot better than Jason does.
I think you're talking about mostly You'll Miss Me.
You'll Miss Me, yeah.
I don't even... Here's the thing. I don't care if it's poetry or not, even if it's good poetry. I don't understand what he's saying. He's just...
I can understand what
I don't
you're saying.
know.
Because a man ain't supposed to cry, but I look up and I don't see a cloud. It's great. And that also has some great horn work.
It does, actually.
Snowball in Hell's a good song.
Dun. What's up?
Snowball in Hell.
I'm not... It's okay. It's
Sound
one
effects and truck trip.
I think it's one of the lesser tracks on that album, but...
But anyway, yeah, like I said, super clever lyric writing with things like Where Your Eyes Don't Go.
What do you think about I've Got a Match?
And World's Address, which is wonderful play on words, double entendre title. The World's Address, The World's Address. Good clever stuff when you're, especially like when you're a teenager and your mind is like on its way to finish forming. Sorry, what was it?
Do you like I've Got a Match?
I've got a match. Your embrace in my clouds. Yeah, and I also think that
I
album
don't know
has
what to think about that. So.
I also think that album has a wonderful mix of more mellow and bouncier stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know. I've always been I was gravitated a little bit more toward a folk sound, and Lincoln has quite a bit of that. Pink Album maybe more so, but anyway.
I actually think Lincoln has more of a folk sound than Pink Album, but...
Well, anyway, there is a defense of Lincoln the sixth best They Might Be Giants album of all time. And
Right.
now we go to
My number
Jason's,
5.
and not the 14th or wherever the hell you put it, 13th, whatever.
I put it at 14th. Yeah.
God, he is not my son. Number 5.
Number 5. My number 5
Yes.
is Flood.
Wow. And of course, a lot of people go, boo, how is it not higher than that? Because for a lot of people, Flood would be number 1. So first tell us, why is Flood not number 1?
Because it's not actually
Because there's other ones you like better?
their best album. It's actually not that good compared to other albums that they have made after that.
Flood has the 3 most well-known TVG songs of all time.
Yeah.
And
is
those would
Woodhouse,
be...
Istanbul and Particle Man.
Yes.
And I mean, it has a lot of really, like, I can't name a bad song off of that album, and I think it's just kind of overplayed, and I played it too much, and so that's part of why it's gone
So you got the
lower.
same thing with Lincoln, but it didn't kill it.
It didn't kill it like it did with Lincoln, and I mean, I don't think Lincoln's, actually killed, but...
But you put it at 14 because
Yeah.
you're a crazy person.
Yeah, I actually, I like to go back to Flood every once in a while.
You know, it sucks that this stream is so niche and not a lot of our audience will watch it, because anybody that thinks that you just, like, parrot me in reviews, you just need to watch this video. Because you're saying all kinds of crap I don't agree with. Letterbox.
I like Letterbox.
Letterbox is a wonderful song. Whistling
It's
in the
not
Dark.
one of the best songs on the album, but Whistling in the Dark is good. I like that.
What are the 3 best songs on
best
on Flood,
songs?
and are any of them some of those 3 most well-known songs?
I actually don't think so.
Okay, what are they?
Number 3. Ooh, that's actually hard. I do like how they kind of have that sort of kind of Pink Album Lincoln sound with like hearing aid and stuff.
But the production's a little better.
It is, and that's why I like it.
The whole
so
thing
much.
sounds more confident.
Yeah, I think.
And there's a lot more variety, which I think has a lot to do with why it was so popular.
Yeah, number 1 is Minimum Wage. No,
But also MTV had a lot to do with why it was so popular.
Number 3, I'm gonna say, We Wanna Rock.
Yeah, I love that.
Number
I love
2,
that song.
I'm gonna say Road Movie to Berlin, and number 1, I'm gonna say Dead.
Yeah, I know you're a big Dead fan.
Yeah,
And that has some of the cleverest writing.
I also do really
I'll never
like.
see myself in the mirror with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Blew my mind when I first
I also
heard
really
it.
like Lucky Ball and Chain and Women and Men
Yeah, same
and
here.
Theme from Flood.
Yeah, Women and Men. Just all of a sudden, you got like a sea shanty kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Hot Chaw's really fun.
Hot Chaw's fun.
Did you? I'm sorry. I'm tired.
Someone
Did you
keeps
say
moving
minimum
my chain.
wage?
I did. It
Minimum
was a
wage is
joke,
great.
but
Yeah, but it's great.
yeah, and Theme from Flood.
And
Flood.
minimum wage is cool because it conveys a whole idea mostly through music, where you need the title, and then that's all you need to understand that it's about, like, somebody going through a terrible mundane day at a job they hate. Like, you
Yeah.
can hear all of that with, like, there's the elevator music, and there's so much thoughtful, creative stuff happening all through that album. And it has a ton of that morbid, bleak stuff with the really fun, quirky songs or melodies
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
running all through it.
I think songs like They Might Be Giants and Hearing Aid and Hot Chaw, like, are really reminiscent of the albums before it.
They Might Be Giants could have been on any of those 3, or even Miscellaneous Tea.
That makes sense. because they wrote it in like '85.
I was going to say, they wrote it pretty early, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the better examples of a... sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. One of the better examples of like the Bad Company thing, of a band writing a song with their band title. Mm-hmm. You know, like as a theme song.
Yeah.
And the Spider-Man theme is right in the middle of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it is.
Oh, you didn't know that? Or it never occurred to you?
Oh.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. That's the bridge. The bridge is intentionally Spider-Man.
Is it intentionally? Yeah. Where's your number 5?
Well, we talked a lot about Flood.
Yeah, we did.
So I won't have to talk too much about it when I get there. But I'm not there yet.
You are not.
My number 5 is Pink Album. Oh, I didn't show Flood. I have... Sorry, hold on. I have the picture record. The record for Flood. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. I accidentally put it sideways when I last put it in, but whatever.
We have 2 of the picture records. Another one you'll see later. And neither of us has brought it up yet. And I'm so curious to see where it lands for you, by the way. But we talked a lot about Pink Album. We should probably just move on.
Yeah.
What is your number 4?
It is indeed that other picture record you
There-
were talking
there it
about.
is,
It is
there it is.
Apollo 18.
Apollo 18. I want the cover of this record for a tattoo, and possibly my next tattoo. I'm thinking about getting this on my thigh.
So this is going to be your number 2.
Well, I guess we'll just have to find out. But here it is, Apollo 18. Talk about this piece of art right here, will you, sir?
Well, it's a squid.
No, I mean the album!
Oh! Apollo 18 is...
By the way,
great.
he put it number 4. He plays it more than any other record when he picks albums to play for the family.
Yeah.
You put it on all the time.
I do. I really like it.
There's not much in the way of weak spots on
Yeah, there's
Apollo 18.
not. I mean, there's some. But...
And maybe their best song order.
Yeah, I think so. Whenever I hear the end of a song, I'm always like, next song, you know. I can't think of.
Well, I think that's just because you've heard it so many times.
Yeah,
I mean,
whenever
I have that
like-
with most Giants records where I know what the next song is, but
Well, yeah, but especially this one,
Yeah.
like,
where it feels
Can't
weird
think of-
listening to anything out of order with it.
yeah.
Top 3.
Top 3, I'm gonna say number 3. Oh man, I think I'm gonna start with number 1, which is probably I Palindrome.
You don't have to rank them, but just give me 3
I
track titles.
Palindrome and I like.
Again, super clever play on words. Where when you're, getting into especially like literature and stuff as a kid, blows your mind with cleverness.
Yeah.
Is Mammal in there?
Yeah.
I Palindrome. Turn Around. Is that in there for you?
Turn Around is in there.
That's a big song for me.
And which describes how you're feeling all the time.
I love TBG songs that are funnier or more interesting, depending on what
Yeah.
you play them after.
Yeah.
You can play any song, even if it's not a TBG song. There's a lot of things that are really funny when right after them you get, which describes how you're feeling all the time.
You know, Mammal is like that. I always, after a song, I always want to hear "Glass of Milk."
The other one I like to do that with isn't even a song, but it's 13 on Miscellaneous.
13 on Miscellaneous.
What do you make
What
out
do
of
you make
that
out of
recording?
recording?
I don't know, Gloria. Just don't know. They sound like all kinds of people, right? Who's they? There may be giants.
There may be giants.
Who's there may be giants? I took off the intellectuals. I put on they may be giants. Anyway,
What's your number 4?
how much of a fan are you of the guitar? Because that's a big song for a lot of fans, and it's middle of the road for me.
It's middle of the road for me, yeah. And the
video's great. You don't like the video?
It's okay.
I think the plank of wood going across the fence is really cool.
Yeah.
Some good stuff in that.
I don't know. That was the first music video directed by Flanzy.
I didn't know he directed any of them, actually.
Yeah, that was.
Did he direct Dr. Worm?
I don't know, actually.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Anyway.
Now we're just getting off on side tangents.
What's your number 4?
Well, okay. My number 4. Sorry, we're getting in the weeds with this. I want to give everything its due. Okay.
We'll probably get to it once you
all friggin' night. But yeah. Sorry, we're at almost 2.5 hours. Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine.
My number 4. We're just gonna get murdered by the 5TVG fans that watch this for not having Flood higher than we do. But Flood is 4 for me.
4 for you, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it almost got to 3.
Yeah.
And people won't agree with my 3, but that's okay. Obviously, we talked a lot about Flood. It is deserving of all the love it gets. It's just not my favorite as a record.
Yeah.
But it absolutely has some of my favorite tracks, of course. We Wanna Rock is way, way up there for me. I'm still, like a lot of people, partial to Particle Man, even though I'm maybe a little bit tired of it. But that was one of those songs that got me really into the band, and obviously I'm a big superhero guy, so that was a big in for me.
That's true.
Etc., etc. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is Miscellaneous D.
Wow, that is really high for that. Especially for a thing that's not supposed to be a studio record. We shouldn't have even included it.
So, Miscellaneous T...
But Birds Fly, how do you not put it on there?
So, Miscellaneous T has some of the best songs ever. Like, Birds Fly is
it's like,
great.
not just for the Giants, but ever.
Well, no, I mean... Birds Fly is great. Also, like, Manhattan is great. Nightgown of the Sullen Moon is, like, really good. And, the alternate version of Kiss Me Son of God is, like, really good.
And it's not my birthday.
This is my Halloween record.
Interesting.
This has a very spooky kind of tune to it that at least I think.
Wow, I can sort of see it, but I've never had that thought.
It's very just mellow and just kind of...
But how does mellow equate to spooky? You mean moody?
Yeah, kind of moody and stuff.
Moody?
Moody? And, it kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of, instrumentation and stuff, too, on certain songs. And especially that Joshua Friday remix.
There is some creepy stuff happening there.
Yeah.
Someone in a club tonight has stolen my ideas. A man of culture references.
Yeah, we have talked about Miscellaneous D quite a bit.
Quite a bit, yeah.
I really like it.
Well, let's see if we can finish this up
and it has a lot of
2.5 hours have passed.
That's, like, small.
Probably not, though. That was your number 3? Okay, yeah. My number 3, and I just couldn't help myself, is John Henry.
Yeah.
John Henry is in my top 3. I listen to it too much not to put it that high.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot on it that I don't care for. And it's one of those things where even the songs I don't like that much just go together to me for that record. I get the complaints with it, and I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, my stepdad, the Jeff, who got me into the Giants in the first place, he and I have done Giants material on the channel before. We've talked about John Henry, and he doesn't care for how much space there is in between the lyrics. Like, his whole thing with that record is a lot of, like, you throw out a syllable, and then you wait. You throw out a syllable. And you, he doesn't like that kind of start and stop thing.
Can't even think of any point where that happens.
That it has. So Snail Shell.
Yeah.
Like. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of lyrics right now. Because it's just so late now. But What
Yeah,
is it,
I can kind of
let me see that for a second.
I can kind of get it.
Yeah, that's what it is. So sir, hand, or is it ma'am?
Yeah.
I fell out of my right place again. He doesn't like that.
He doesn't like that.
I have no problem with any of that.
I don't really care. I don't know.
But he's not here to defend himself. But and he's admittedly way more musical than me and understands music theory a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
But like that stuff, just his sensibilities are not right for that. And I like the straightforward rock about it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think it's as interesting as their earlier stuff that's more experimental.
Right.
You've also heard his writing. So
yeah.
So you see the difference between us there. I like the mainstream sound with that record. I also like the stuff that's not as mainstream, but they just nail that so hard. You'll notice that when we get to my other two top records, they also have more of that mainstream sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about this album quite a bit. But like, End of the Tour is in my top 3 Giant songs of all time.
End of the Tour is the best Giant song, I think.
I mean, it's way up there. I still put Birthday above it, but it's because I'm weird. But it's way up there.
Because Miscellaneous Tea is great.
Meet James Ensor is hilarious. But there's a lot of songs on that album that are not just straight up funny.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things I really like about it, but still have like, unusual off the beaten path kind of lyrics.
Yeah.
We didn't mention AKA Driver earlier. That's a really cool song. That the real name of it is NyQuil Driver, but they were afraid of getting sued by NyQuil.
Yeah, that song's pretty good. I really like the drum riff there. That's that song, right?
And I'm a big fan of great drum riffs.
Yeah.
And some of the best ones are in John Henry. I'm glad you brought that up. That's definitely a big part of it for me. And it has a 1-2 punch that a lot of Giants records don't have, which is it has a brilliant opening track and a brilliant closing track.
Yeah.
I don't know that you find a better one and then ender than Subliminal to End of the Tour. I don't know if there's another record that does that, unless you want to say Birdhouse and because Birdhouse is the true opening track with that.
Yeah.
Unless you want to say Birdhouse with Road Movie to Berlin, and I like Road Movie, but I don't like it as much as End of the Tour. But they do a similar thing in that it's more mellow and easing you out of the record.
Yeah. Well,
I cannot get enough of that album. I listen to it on a nigh daily basis.
Yeah.
I probably listen to John Henry almost every day. Maybe every other day. Probably 4 or 5 times a week at least, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I play it a lot.
I can't remember what we were talking about. There was a closing song that was pretty good, but I can't remember what the first track was because I don't remember what the album was. But I do like Mink Car's opening and closing tracks, but because I really like working undercover for the man, but that's just me.
Hey, it's fine, but yeah. Okay, we are getting close, guys. We're almost there.
Yeah,
but 2 minutes to 2.5 hours, so we're definitely gonna go past that. Have you enjoyed this?
Yeah, I have.
I have really enjoyed this. Boy, have we been comprehensive with this discussion.
We have.
Is there anything we haven't talked about? What would be the point of us doing a TMEG podcast now?
All right, number 2.
No, I'm kidding. There's
My
definitely more to say. One of the most prolific bands ever. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much.
My number 2.
It's like a Star Trek level fandom. Sorry, I'm making us all wait because I can't wait. So I think I know what this is.
You did this for Long Tall Weekend and like.
I did what for Long Tall Weekend?
Well, you kept making us wait. Or you kept talking, and then I was like, my number 15 is a Long Tall Weekend.
And everybody's like, oh, all right. What the hell is that?
Yeah, so.
So the question here is going to be, like, what am I forgetting? Is it, because I haven't been keeping
Which one did
super
you
close
put?
track.
Which one did I put over?
Is else the number 2 or is it your number 1? So let's see what your number 2 is. Go ahead.
My number 2 is The Spine.
The Spine, yeah. I guess we haven't heard Spine from you yet.
No, we haven't.
Boy, that's high.
And I
love it now too, but that is high.
I was not expecting you to say number 9.
You thought it'd be a lot higher?
Yeah.
Just remember though, I didn't like it when it came out.
True. And I didn't have that because I grew up like just listening to it.
Well, and I play it all the time.
Right. And I played all the time. I
But I'm saying when you were growing up and you had less choice in what you
Yeah.
listened to, you would have still heard it quite a
Yeah.
bit, right?
I don't even know how to describe this album. It's such a good just piece in itself. Like you said, there aren't actually that many songs that'll play by itself. But we are ranking the albums.
And don't you feel like it has such a specific sound
Yeah.
that a lot of their later stuff is too derivative specifically of this album.
Yeah.
They cannot get away from this sound.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that with Else. They cannot get away from it with Spine.
Yeah. I really like the sound, and I don't know, it's just really fun to listen to, this kind of like edgy, early 2000s sort of thing. I really like how they're taking what they are enjoying of music of that era, and mixing it with their normal standard TMG thing.
So you think it's pretty indicative of that period?
I think it is.
Like you think it fits time and place really well into the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Boy, I've never had that thought.
Yeah. And I think that of
But you're right.
of albums.
If you look at it to Apollo 18 and John Henry, those sound like the 90s and this sounds like the 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a terrific point.
Oh, this was the album. Yeah. Experimental Film and I Can't Hide From My Mind are great. Starting and ending, I think. But
Yeah, and like not everybody likes experimental film as much as you do. I like it more than your mom does, but
I really like that song, but
I wish we could have had her do this with us, but she doesn't know the later stuff as well.
Yeah.
'Cause she doesn't like it.
right.
So she wouldn't have ranked every album.
Right. Well,
Well,
what is your number 2? Because I'm really excited to see if Else is your number 2 or not.
The Else is indeed my number 2.
Really?
Yeah. My number 1 favorite TMG record has never, ever, ever changed. It has stayed the same all the way through. And I've said this a lot. I mean, to you. I don't know if I've ever said this on the channel the few times we've talked about TMG. But I think... So, hold this.
Yeah.
I think the Else is... Hang on, I'm trying to find it. The Else has one of the best covers, by the way, too. I love the snowman.
Oh, yeah.
The Else, I think, not to step on anybody's opinions if you've gotten this far, very few people will, but we'll try to make it worth your while. The Else is, in my opinion, like the actual true definitive TMG album.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's almost objectively their best work.
Yeah.
But it's not my favorite. Apollo 18 is my favorite.
And
I'm just revealing my number 1 right now. It's pretty obvious, but
here's...
it's the one I want the tattoo of. It's not just
Right.
because that image is cool. It's because it's my favorite record. I don't think it's technically their best. I don't think anything holds together better than the Else. And it's really impressive that they made a record that is that good with that few songs.
Yeah,
They don't have short songs on the Else.
it's true. And I think you, me, and Mom all have that.
We all
with
have that.
different albums where
I think the Else actually is her favorite, though, is it not?
John Henry is her favorite,
No,
but the
that's true.
Else is
no,
the
that-
best
No,
album.
that's right. I guess she still puts John Henry above.
Spine is probably my favorite album.
But you did put the Else
But
first.
I did.
Yeah.
Because the Else is better.
It just is.
It just is.
Kind of objectively, it is.
Yeah.
It's basically the Giants' version, like take on a punk album.
Yeah, which is great.
Basically,
Like, I really like it.
There's some songs that I wouldn't quite fit in that category, but like close enough.
Yeah.
It's a 9 masterpiece. Like, I wouldn't change anything about it.
Yeah.
And like, there's maybe some songs that I like a little bit better than other songs, but I don't even have the thing that people have with Withered Hope. Like, I like that song fine. Like, there's people that really hate that song.
Yeah.
I
Which I don't know how you can dislike that song more than Countercoup,
like Countercoup though. Like,
which is not a bad song, but it is the weakest song on the album.
do you think so?
Yeah.
I guess I would say Withered Hope is technically, but like the bar is so high.
Yeah. Withered Hope is the one that starts with the horn section, right? I'm pretty sure. I actually really like that song.
Yeah, I think so.
And
but
then Mesopotamians is a great ending track.
it's definitely one of the best.
great.
Your mom doesn't like I'm Impressed. I'm not really sure why. I think it's a pretty standard opening track for them.
Yeah.
But it all just goes uphill from there. In my mind, I don't think Countercoup was a super weak track. Take Out the Trash might be the best thing John Flansburgh ever wrote.
Yeah.
And Climbing the Walls is the one track off that album that I do play on its own a lot. The rest of it I tend to play together.
I tend to play Take Out the Trash.
Oh, well, you know what? That's true. I put that on a lot.
And also the Captain a lot.
And Take Out the Trash is the most punkish song on the album, too.
Yeah.
But Climbing the Walls is wonderful. It's probably my favorite.
Careful What You Pack.
Yeah.
Was the first song I ever remember listening to.
Song. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And of course, the album again comes out 3 years before you're born.
Right.
So, you would have heard it pretty early, but
right. I would.
That's really interesting.
I would have heard it probably when I was like, I think I was like, or like one.
Yeah, I kind of wish I could get in your head for a second and get your perspective on knowing this band as in and out as you do for your whole, like, and having known them for your whole life.
Yeah. Because,
like, I came to them. And obviously, a lot of things that you like that I introduced you to, of course, you and I would have very different perspectives on because it's always been there for you.
Yeah.
Like I have that with Star Trek, where I don't remember getting into Star Trek. It was always there because my dad was a big Star Trek fan. He always showed it to me.
Yeah.
But with TMG,
and then one day it disappeared.
Right, and I went to hell and it went to heaven, and that's how I got rid of it. But anyway, so yeah, that's our ranked list. I don't know if I actually got all the albums out when we were talking about them, but
yeah,
I think I finally did.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Two and a half hours in.
I think I would put Stay Songs at like number 13 during my list.
Stay Songs, like I said, would be in my top 10. That's a very special album for me.
Yeah.
Although it goes higher if you put Louisiana in it.
Yeah.
Which is now an extra track that is included in the Spotify version. And I didn't bring this down here, but I have the 45 for Louisiana, which was the only way you could listen to it for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it is shaped like the United States.
Yeah.
And it's one of the coolest things on
Yeah, it's great.
It's so neat. It is not as ungettable as you might expect. It actually is not that hard to find, and not super expensive if somebody is selling it.
Yeah. And I'm also a big fan of Unsupervised, which is the first
what is that?
Monopuff album.
Oh, right. And you've played me a little bit of that. I just don't know it.
Yeah. I have not heard enough of the second album for it to. It has a completely different sound, so I'm trying to.
Ease into
I'm not
it.
sure.
Okay, let me ask you this: how much of the writing does Flanzy do for that band, or is somebody else writing with him?
I think he writes all of it.
Is he with other people?
It feels like he writes all of it. But
so I don't really understand Monopuff.
Monopuff,
Is it solo?
No.
And he just named it that, or does he have other people with him that are not Linnell?
He has other people with him that are not Linnell or the Dans or.
Fascinating.
Yeah, that is just another band that he formed together.
Wow.
For 2 albums, while they were taking kind of like that break between Factory Showroom and.
Oh, was that when he did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know where that happened.
That's
I was having in
96
his mind that it was in the 80s, but I guess it's a lot later.
No, that's late 90s.
I think also at the same time, or maybe just after, that Linnell did his solo project with State Songs.
Yeah.
Flanzy did like a stage musical.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I've never heard any of the music from that.
Me either.
But he did his own solo project at the same time, but it wasn't just a record; it was a play.
But yeah, Unsupervised, I Hit My Head is actually one of my favorite Flancy songs, and it's not even a TMBG song.
Interesting. Have you played me that? You probably have.
I think I have, yeah.
It's just been a minute. I can't remember what any of that sounds like.
That's the one where he lost his superpowers. And he could turn invisible, but now he can't. Because he was unsupervised and he hit his head.
Is he also a super taster? Did all of this
when
happen
I was
when he was
39 and a half
years
old? No. At the age of 58.
Then at the age of 58. That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't want to hear about your parkour. Or your operation.
Let me tell you. Okay.
Let me tell you about the future. About my operation.
Oh my gosh. That song.
Well, this was a lot of fun. We went way longer than I wanted to, but I also kind of figured that there was a good chance that would happen.
Yeah.
You are a fountain of information with TBG.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we finally sat down and just did a big, long stream about them.
Yeah, thank you.
And you remember how I made the joke in the beginning for the 5 people that would care? It's exactly the number of people watching at this very moment.
Yeah.
Which is not that surprising at 1 a.m. about a very niche topic.
Yeah.
But if you have made it all the way to the end, we really appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and thanks for indulging us while we talk about one of our absolute favorite things that we are pretty knowledgeable about, but don't have, haven't taken a lot of opportunity to discuss too much.
Yeah.
And thanks for letting us be kind of indulgent about it. And there's more stuff I want to do about TMEG down the road. And again, I'm going to do some collection stuff next year, and I'll talk about records, along with other records, when we get there.
Yeah.
Jayson, any closing thoughts?
I don't think so. There's a girl with a crown on a scepter.
Do you feel like you should be allowed to glue your poster?
Yeah. I gotta glue my poster.
Everybody, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you again. We're streaming haphazardly whenever we've got the time while we're on hiatus from regular stuff. And we're just going to, we're going to make experimental films, really.
Yeah. Yeah, we will.
Is our whole plan. Thanks a lot for watching. I was the captain.
Yeah, and I was Jayson.
And that was a really obscure TVG reference.
I was,
the rabbit child on your toddler highway?
The toddler highway.
The parking lot fills at Toys R Us?
Yeah, I'm Bill.
How's your mood?
Yeah.
We'll see you again real soon, folks. Once again, I was Captain Logan. This is Jayson.
I was Jayson.
Bye, everybody.